Hi, what's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? My name is Noel, and today I'm joined by two of my favorite people. We've got Brian.
Hey. Hello, Noel.
And we also have with us today...
Hey, what's up? Holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. the Bad Tribble, over here recording on Audacity.
Thank you. You know what? That was probably something I was going to say, only because we were so excited to go live on time that I forgot to be like, hey guys, everybody, just make sure that we sync our recording.
And even one more than that, I forgot to start the recording.
You know what? Let's cut. Take two.
Yeah. All right. I get to do my show intro dance again, which nobody ever gets to see, but I enjoy doing during the countdown.
Let's pretend it's going. And what's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? My name is Noel. I'm not your normal host, JD. He's going to be joining us a little later. But with me today is Brian.
Hey, Noel. How are you?
Oh, that was okay. Yeah. And also, Len, say something more than hello.
Yo, what's up? Holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble.
Guys, I think we nailed that. So we don't have letters this morning.
We don't have letters?
We have no letters. No letters.
But we do have a really, really packed show today. So anybody that's even just like remotely in the nerd sphere, I don't know, whatever, just pays slight attention to anything that they're fans of, knows that this past week, only like 3 days ago, Disney just unloaded just a metric ton of original content that's coming to all of their streaming channels, and it was a perfect time to resurrect Gutter Talk. So
and that's more than a US ton, right?
It's a metric. Well,
yeah. That's more than an imperial ton. Cool.
So as far as metaphors go, it's more than a normal metaphoric ton.
Sweet.
So we didn't want to abandon all comic books. We just picked three of the ones that we thought would be the most engaging conversation. We're going to plow through them, and then we're going to talk about all the really fun Disney stuff that was announced in regards to Star Wars and Marvel, and maybe have a special guest a little later on. So, I mean, would you guys mind if we just jump? What a super special guest!
There you go. Let's give him his propers.
Yeah, super.
But
special.
JD should also be joining us, probably.
Yeah, he's likely gonna. I hope to goodness he's gonna awkwardly jump in as soon as humanly possible, and probably chide us on the fact that we started the show twice.
Yeah, and are still talking about our first comic, no matter when he decides to join us.
Well, I mean, you know what? Let's jump right into it. The first one's a bit of a doozy. So I pushed for this because I read it out of habit of having to read like all of these branded titles, and was pleasantly surprised by how much I liked it, and just kind of kept forcing it on you guys. So I'm obviously referring to Dark Knight's Death Metal, The Last Stories of the DC Universe, #1 by DC Comics, written by Scott Snyder, Gail Simone, Jeff Lemire, Joshua Williamson, James Tynion IV, Mariko Tamaki, Mark Waid, and more, with art by Raphael Albuquerque, Travis Moore, Mirka Adolfo, Francis Manapel, and more. Diamond has this to say. Oh, wait, sorry, it's not Diamond anymore. Solicits have this to say. The last battle against the Batman Who Laughs is at hand. The final fight for everything in the universe. And while the night is usually darkest before the dawn, what would be the last thing that you'd do if you weren't sure the dawn would ever arrive? Join our heroes in their waning hours as we show their journeys through what could be their final moments. Heroes that have fought 1,000,000 times before, but are keenly aware this could be their endgame. These are the solemn moments, the stolen moments, detailing the last stories of the DC Universe. So, obviously, I was just beside myself with how much I actually enjoyed this, because I was expecting another tie-in of anthologies that was just boring as hell with maybe one shining spot. I found it to be the other way around. I enjoyed the shit out of all of this except one of the 7, which was a solid average for me. So what did you guys think?
I want to take a guess, and because I felt the same way, and I wonder if it was the same one. Noel, was your one the Aquaman story?
Yeah, I thought that was boring as hell.
Yeah. I felt the same. Everything else was awesome. Everything else was great.
It wasn't. So there was 7 stories. One was a bridging story. One was an epilogue and a prologue, or prologue and epilogue of like a bookended story about the Titans, and then a bunch of like little inserts in between. It was essentially the trilogy, and then an Aquaman and a Green Arrow story.
Right.
And
the Green Lantern story was cool. It was really cool. Yeah.
Made Hal Jordan really cool. I mean, we could probably go through them really. Do you want to go through them really fast?
Let's do it.
General impressions overall, though, Len. What did you think?
Hey, I think for the most part, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the art, for the most part, was pretty good. Some of the stories were decent. There were, unlike you two, there were 2 that I ultimately sided on. I don't care about this, and I don't like. Well, no, I shouldn't say don't care. I didn't like it, but overall, it was cool. I mean, it's not, what is what it is. It's the calm before the storm, as it were.
Yeah.
The big finale, as it were, which is cool. Except, and this is the real stickler I'll pick on at the end. It doesn't quite stick the landing because it still can't help but be a DC book, and I'll tell you about that when we're finished.
Oh, I'm excited now. Okay, the first one is the front and the back, the Titan story. It was essentially a Donna Troy story. That one was written by like 5 writers with really great art by Travis Moore.
And I like seeing all of the different just like a history retrospective, kind of the different teams. That was fun.
They did a really cool kind of a layout of Garth and Donna walking through these. So essentially, it's the end of the world, and all of the Titans, former and current, have just kind of found themselves at Titans Mountain.
No, it's Themyscira. I think all of this takes place on Themyscira.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah. So they found themselves just gathering at the beach.
Yeah.
They found themselves basically gathering with their tribe. You were Titans. You were always Titans. So this is where you want to be. And Donna is off by herself, kind of like contemplating the end of the world. And Garfield comes up and he tries to console her. And what you were speaking about, the layout, is at one moment they're kind of like walking and talking. It turns into an Aaron Sorkin play, and they are walking through all the past iterations of the Titans, or Teen Titans, or Team Titans, depending on your generation.
Yes. Do you guys remember this Adam one? Speaking of generations.
Oh, I do remember that one.
I like that one. With Arjun.
I did not like that one. That made absolutely no sense to me.
See, I was young enough at the time.
Definitely, you're wrong.
I was young enough at the time. Looking back, I'm like, how is that the Teen Titans? But at the time, I was like, oh, a group called the Teen Titans. This is cool. I know the other ones exist, but the fact that they were doing a totally different thing didn't really dawn on me.
Young Justice was there too, but
and they even like call out, like, what are they here for? Like,
plus they're also Teen Titans now, right? In the current Titans book, all of them are
Young Justice is Young Justice.
They're Young Justice.
No, I mean all of not the team, but like Connor is on the Titans now, and that, you know what I mean? Like they all could be there. Is he not? Is he not in the Titans book right now?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so though.
Either here or there. It's a Titans past, present, and future kind of all together. And everyone like the record scratches when Wally shows up, because for those of you that don't remember, Wally murdered a lot of people and then hid it and then traversed the time and space. I don't know, whatever they're doing with Wally these days.
What I didn't like about that is that if you just picked up this book, there's no real allusion to why everybody's giving Wally the stink face. You know what I mean? You know it.
Yeah.
If you've been reading it, but they really don't give any type of dialogue to it whatsoever.
No, except when they resurrect the character later.
Right.
Well,
just nod. That was weird.
Yeah, but that was weird because that was after, Wally, they have like a moment of a really quick moment. It's like, kumbaya with Wally. And then, Zombie Arsenal or Roy Harper shows up. And that was really weird.
I do love the fact that it was a zombie Roy Harper. Let's just talk about it. Is this the DC of it all? Like zombie Roy Harper shows up and he's just like, it's okay that you murdered me out of fear.
Yeah.
No words, just like he tips his hat and you're just like, no one's weirded out that that's a zombie? No? Okay.
Right. Just came up, battle armored up, ready to fight. Like no, that's not the way this thing happens. That's not the way these things play out, especially if you're in the DC universe, you're used to people coming back from the dead. But when they come back from the dead, they usually look like they did yesterday.
Right, they're back. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But dude, he literally just walked out of a Robert Kirkman comic.
I do love the, hey, it's all right. You murdered me.
We've been through a lot together.
It's so weird. Anyway, so that was a weird like little end stone, but then it gets into the one shots. So
I have a question. Who are the? No, you pointed to this team at the end, so it made me think you might know about them. The last team that they show on the team breakdown. Yeah, there's like a Hawk character in the Teen Titans, which one?
Wait a minute. Which one are you talking about?
The very last one here.
Yeah.
So it feels like there's like a Joker.
Oh, I can tell you exactly who that is. That is the Joker. That is the Teen Titans from the 70s. When the Teen Titans book ended in the early 70s, it was canceled, and then it was brought back, and they brought it back in as if it had never been canceled. Like let's say it got canceled at issue number 63. They came back years later with issue number 64. But when they came back, and I think it only lasted like another 10 or 12 issues before it was canceled again. But they had Robin, all your favorites: Robin, Wonder Girl, Kid Flash, Aqualad. That Joker girl was Joker's daughter. I think at one time she kind of maybe went by Harlequin, but she was called like Joker's daughter.
Duella Dent, is that?
Yes, that's Duella Dent.
Okay.
It was Lilith. Narc, who was like this kind of like a Neanderthal dude, and the Hawk guy, I can't remember his name, but there was like a Hawk guy. I think he was called like Golden Victory or something like that. Real corny, real cheesy, real cheesy. And they lasted like for probably as long as that panel. That's as long as their book was out.
Was he related to the Hawkman mythos?
No, he wasn't. I think he was just a dude who found some wings in the trash and was like, "Yo, hey."
Who would throw out a perfectly good pair of wings? I could use these.
You know what I mean? It was really bad. It was some bad stuff, man.
So the first story is Green Lantern, Last Night by Jeff Lemire and Raphael Albuquerque. It is Hal being interesting for 8 pages. I thought it was really great. Like he just kind of talks about how everyone's off doing their last minute stuff and being with their loved ones and having beers. And I don't know why I just want to fly. So that's his thing. And then he comes across his former mentor who wants to spend his last day in his old uniform, which I thought was a really kind of cool story. It also kind of when Sinestro kind of asks, like, fights back at him, like Hal is just like, why the hell would I give you a green ring? And Sinestro's just like, parallax, throw stones, which I thought was a really cool beat. This was fun. I like this story. I like this story a lot. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I love a good sort of like finding the possibility of redemption or lightness in the character, and he because he sought it out himself. He wanted to go back, and so that was very cool. And one last fight as a Green Lantern, which, to be fair, I doubt he will be in a Green Lantern uniform in Death Metal 6 if he shows up. But that doesn't matter for this story. Just like, Hal, empowered as one of the last Green Lanterns, is like, yeah, join up once again.
I didn't buy this until, I was loving the art all the way around, because you can't knock, the art. But I wasn't buying it until Sinestro, after he puts on the ring and he says the oath and he says the line, I forgot what it was like to not feel fear again.
Yeah.
And I said, when he said that, I was like, all right, I can buy this. I can buy that the jerk that Sinestro has been his entire life is because, for one reason or another, there was an insecurity in him. You know what I mean? A fear in him. And him embracing this made him feel, he felt the difference, Now, ultimately, whether or not this will make a difference for him moving forward, we all know the answer to this, ladies and gentlemen. We've read comics. Right. But it was enough that I could buy this story. You know what I mean? So I landed on the side. I was like, all right, I'm with it. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, he was always one who is one of the stronger villains in the category of, I think I'm doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. He always believed in being a Green Lantern. It's just he feels the Green Lanterns turned against the right way to go for him.
Right.
Yeah, I really dug it. It's you can always buy him. I actually prefer him more anti-hero-ish than pure mustache twirling villain.
Yeah, me too.
Because when he's mustache twirling villain, he's not interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So like when he was one of the main baddies and as a part of the Legion of Doom in this last run of Justice League, he was incredibly boring because he was just like a gun. But in like John's run, when he's used as he's one of those villains where he's not wrong. He's just murderous and awful about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when you make him like the mustache twirler, I think you're leaning into his look. Because let's face it, he looks like a villain.
He does. He's got that mustache.
I want to twirl that mustache. That's incredibly impressive. It's just like,
and if you were to twirl his mustache, sinisterly, no, I wonder if you have an idea of what that might look like.
Oh, yeah. That's an odd callback. Let me get at it. If he were to sinisterly and or handsomely twirl his mustache, I imagine it would be,
Look at this.
Oh, goodness gracious. That was a real whoa moment. Sorry, visually, anybody that's just listening to the podcast, visually, we've found these like stupid gifs that we're just going to use as much as humanly possible.
Right. And if you're audibly listening to the podcast, why aren't you visually watching us?
I know.
Tune in every Sunday morning.
Maybe they're driving.
You could put it on and just like.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. It's safe. But anyway, so like then we get into a Wonder Woman story, which is kind of just like a referendum on the power of Wonder Woman. It's a little bit more of a talky, the reason why we fight type of story. It was very competent. Didn't blow my socks away. Art was nice. But as far as like, blockbusters go, it was just like, okay, cool. I like it.
Yeah. It didn't do anything for me either. It's just like,
It was just solid. Like a lot of this was just solid. The Green Arrow Dinah Black Canary story was fine. It was cute. The art was cute. The story was cute. It was just cute. It tacked on something that I thought was pretty interesting. Like this whole event is so big and so weird that I forget that it is like fractured. It's fractured universes and stories and timelines all kind of merging into one, or all on one battlefield, and they happen to meet a potential daughter of theirs in another universe, which I thought was pretty interesting.
I also like the twist of the difference between her parents and them is that Dinah Lance is Green Arrow on her world, and Oliver Queen is the Black Canary.
Complete with fishnets.
Yeah.
Fishnet sleeves, a fishnet tank top.
Sleeves, yeah.
Pretty solid. Yeah.
And her costume is pretty cool too. I like the art overall on this. I was with you, Noel. I also forgot that there were multiversal elements of the people that were here. But I like it. It was cool.
Yeah, I like it. It was cute. It was a cute story.
Yeah. I think that's the most you could say about it. It was cute. It was just it felt very classic comic booky, which was the modus operandi for this whole anthology. It was all like it had a whole set of buttons, and it was just each story took a turn playing with the comic book trope, and most of them were successful over others.
The art on this one I liked a lot too.
The art is cool. I mean, I don't know necessarily if it fits the tone of the story. I don't know if I necessarily like the layout of the Black Canary and Green Arrow in that story, but that story, while I landed on like it was fine. That and the Aquaman story, which follows it, which is definitely like just a death toll. It's just boring. But they both, like, to me, speak a little bit to the trouble of comics, in that certain characters you can't help but keep returning to the same story beats. So Black Canary and Green Arrow, it's still that same story beat of like, well, why aren't y'all married? I mean, I know they got married at one time, but obviously that was pre-52, and now all that is like, null and void. So now you're just working your way up to, are they going to get married again or not? You know what I mean? Aquaman, this whole long soliloquy and his swimming around dead whales is all just so he can set up about how, I'm doing this for my son. Well, you've had a son before. You've had like 8 sons over the course of your entire publishing history. They all keep ending the same way, getting gacked some type of way. It's like, how many times we're going to keep returning to these same story beats? At least I was hoping they would at least give him a daughter, like change something up.
Wait, I mean,
I thought they did.
Story. Is it a daughter?
I thought in the regular Aquaman comics he has a daughter, which threw me in this one.
Wait.
Oh, he said Andy. Her name is it a girl?
I think it's a girl.
That's the boyish looking girl I've ever seen.
And her name is Andy with a Y.
I did not enjoy this story so much, but it was for a different reason. I'm not a fan of the third person omniscient nothing but kind of reading you thoughts against it takes a lot for that to actually work for me. Like I know it's a very common kind of it's a very common story device to use, of like somebody writing a letter or giving a speech, and then it's juxtaposed against actions that are happening without dialogue. Tom King did it a lot in his Batman run, and those were like my least favorite issues. The fact that where it was like either someone was reading a poem or a letter or going through like their thoughts while an action scene is setting up, and it's just like, can you please stop reciting me the purpose of this story and just tell me the damn story? That's what this felt like for 6 or 7 pages. And I just, and the fact that the font was really kind of hard to read. It was a bit murky, and it was, which is funny because it's Aquaman, but it was all just a bit murky. All for what, like the beat at the end was good because in the story, Aquaman is kind of working for the bad guys in order to, so like a lot of the heroes end up working for the bad guys in order to kind of just save whatever little they can. So Aquaman is, working for the bad Batmen, so he can protect the seas from worse. And Diana is running Themyscira as a jail because she's able to at least keep some people alive. So I get that. And he's writing a letter of like, I'm finally going to take a stand to his daughter. But it was just so, it was a butt ton of show don't tell, and I was just like, I was pretty bored with it.
And the problem is like you said, even in the Tom King run, in those stories that you didn't like, the poem or the soliloquy or whatever is being read over action. It's just
right.
it's literally just him swimming.
You're right. In those stories, you at least were able to fall back on like, yeah, but Jorge Fornes just knows how to draw. Those were at least you could just kind of fall back on like that. But the art is spectacular. This was just fine.
Yeah, this kind of art also is like, I don't dislike this kind of art, and I don't dislike this art, but given the content of the story and the art surrounding it, it doesn't really fit, and it's not. I mean, it fits the content of the story. It's slow-moving art along with slow-moving story. You know, it's heavy looking, and I didn't realize that Aquaman was working with them until this, but I guess that's my fault. Or it could have been in one of the few tie-ins that I didn't read. You know,
it was just like really quickly in like the first or second issue of Metal, and then all the tie-ins. Yeah, look, I took I've been filing away and kind of like trying to organize this room because I'm going to redo it, and that was also pulling together all the single issue piles that are everywhere. And my stack of DC Metal so far is like. It's like this. It's not cool.
Well, yeah, it depends on how many of them are good. But this story also, the central metaphor, I didn't really like. Like the whale fall thing is cool. I think that's an interesting thing that happens in the real world, and using that as a metaphor is pretty cool. But when he starts saying, he's like, "Oh, you surface people see death as one thing, but we under the ocean don't see it as an ending." And I'm like, nonsense. Yes, you do. All of your other stories have shown you perceive it in the same way. And there are people on the surface world who kind of adopt that point of view. I thought it was just it was pretty forced and not that viable, you know? So.
The next two stories are my two favorite ones in this anthology. The first one being about the Bat family, mainly just all the kids in the Bat family, because Batman calls to them and they all kind of do their thing. It was a lot of cutesy, but it was a lot of fan service cutesy that I fell for, particularly Dick and Barbara, who, spoiler alert, they get married, which I thought was really funny, and it was really sweet. And
it's explicitly just for that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
What?
Yeah, that was like, yeah. Which again, it goes back to the things that they always do over and over and over again. But at least in this story, they explicitly did that on purpose, almost just like a wink and a nod, like, look, we're married tonight, that's fine, but if we survive this, we'll discuss it. And his response of I'll just have to keep trying to win you back. I mean, I fell for it. I thought it was charming. Yeah. If it was a ride off into the sunset and we're happy now, then yeah, I'd probably be like, this is bullshit.
Well, I'm calling bullshit anyway, because I don't like the idea of like, yeah, we're married, but we know if we survive this, wink, wink, this it's not real. So they're already going in. They're telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is bullshit. Yeah. I didn't like this story. I thought it was. I get what you're saying. I was trying to be cutesy and stuff, but I thought it was maybe a little bit too cutesy.
I mean, they got married by Batman. I presume he's ordained. He's everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
I think he did it himself. The power vested by nobody.
If there's not any more proof that this is not real, Batman married them, right?
Yeah,
the man who couldn't get married himself. But sure, yeah. Now I'll knock you two off real quick.
Well, he's already dead, and he's like, fuck it. Yeah. You're married.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what I do. Here you go. You want to get married? Sure. Here you go. Everybody's married. Get the heck out of here, man. I just didn't dig it. I didn't like the art on it. The art left me cold. I still, maybe it's me, and I'm never going to get over it. I can't stand how Jason and Dick and now they all look the damn same. Like there's a moment where Jason is holding the sword. You couldn't tell me that wasn't Dick holding the sword, especially because at one time Nightwing shirt did have the almost same color scheme with the red. So I'm like, oh man, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, Jason going over Jason's shoulders in at least one panel, but then not in another one, which is essentially a T-shirt version of Dick's current costume with red instead of blue.
Right. So I mean, I don't know. I just didn't dig it. Plus, I mean, yes, it goes against my headcanon because in my headcanon, Dick Grayson should be with Starfire, but it also goes against my headcanon a little bit because to me, and at least as far as I know, they haven't retconned this. Barbara is a little bit older than Dick, so that also it doesn't mean that she can't fall for a younger man, a younger dude, but them being like the love of each other's lives, that still just doesn't I still just can't jive with that. I can jive with them having a relationship. I can jive with them sincerely meaning something to each other. I just can't. There's just a part of me that doesn't see them as being the be all for each other. I just don't.
Yeah,
and it's not helped. Excuse me. And it's not helped that she's running around in a 10-year-old's cosplay costume because that's not Batgirl.
Well, I don't care her costume.
How it kind of looks cool when certain artists draw it, but when it's drawn in a way where we're supposed to think that she seriously put together this stuff, this is not Barbara Gordon. This is not the person that is Oracle put this costume together. It makes no sense in that respect.
Speaking of Oracle, did you notice she made a comment about how her implant is like running out? I wonder if they're moving her back to Oracle.
I mean, in the actual Batman comic, they pretty much already have. Like they haven't put her in a chair, but they have put her back in the tower, and there's two other Batgirls running around. I agree. This is their relationship should and is more of a first love kind of thing, not a forever kind of thing. Like always mutual respect, always this. But I think people just keep shipping them because they both have bat labels on them. Whatever.
Well, no, it's not whatever. Stop it.
No. I mean, it's whatever because it's boring. It's whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you, Len. I always saw Starfire as Dick Grayson's main love interest. And Batgirl was somebody that I was aware of, and I don't know. They never seemed to be two halves of a whole or anything like that.
Here's the other reason. Both of them, because I think you could argue that Jason and Damian kind of have similar worldviews to Batman. Their perspective might change, but they kind of have similar worldviews, right? But Tim is very much like a detective, so he's off on his other thing. And Dick and Barbara have their own different worldviews. They rock with Batman, but they have their own different point of views. And it doesn't make sense to me that as a love interest or a person that they want to spend their life with is that either of them would want to do it with someone else that is so engrossed in that world. You know what I mean? It makes sense to me that they would want somebody outside of that world. If Batman wants somebody inside that world, that is come on the show if you want to pop shit. Otherwise, deal with the mushroom growing out your roof, Johnny Destructo. All right, deal with the mutant vegetation happening over in Mannyunk, bruh.
JD is constantly commenting, "Hey, a full half hour of one DC book." To be fair, it's like a 90-page DC book.
A lot of
it's 84 pages,
and the next story is the last one,
which is really what I want to get to. Yeah.
So the Superman story was great.
So it's now let's get to the Superman story. Which is Superman through comic book logic of time is able to relive 1 hour, multiple times, and he uses that 1 hour to save as many people as he can, help as many people as he can, and still spend time with his Lois and his son. It's written by Mark Waid. It's drawn by, I think, Francis Manapul. I think he is the artist of it. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the only reason to buy this book, because this story is fantastic, because this is Superman in a nutshell. This is what the dude would do. He feels like Superman. He looks like Superman. He's not super buff, but he definitely is super strong, and he still spends time, and he's going to do this because he knows I can do this and still get back to my lady. That's what Superman does. That's a great fucking story. Fantastic. Loved it.
Yeah, like the one time that he can be everywhere at once. He starts off just like, oh, I could relive the hour once. And then he's like, well, why not again? And again. And it's like thousands of times. Puts on his classic costume, and also some of those things are like comforting an old woman in the hospital, or somebody who's contemplating suicide, or hugging Jimmy Olsen and shaking
Perry
hands
White.
with Perry White.
Yeah.
JD mentioned, oh, that's a cool Superman story. Did you not read it, Jay? No? Anyway.
He also mentioned that it sounded like an Astro City story, and it does, because the very first story of Astro City, way back, is about how their analog for Superman, Samaritan, is all he wants to do is it's so much because it kind of echoes the Green Lantern story. The story talks about how he just goes from fight to fight, saving people, going to get this award from the people, saving people, fighting this villain, getting this cat out of a tree, and all this other stuff. And the whole time, you see him like 7.5, 8.4, and all he's doing is cataloging the moments that he gets to fly, because that's the moment when he feels the most free and then to himself. Yeah, those
very
seconds.
Small amount of time.
It's a very small amounts of time.
The way that they weaved the story in, he got the time travel tech from his son, who's with the Legion, kind of made his own little thing, and using it over and over again is starting to degrade it too. So it's not so much like I'm going to help everyone. It's people keep needing help.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps using it over and over and over again, to the point where there are thousands of Supermen across the globe in the course of this 1 hour, because he keeps going over his time loop, and they show the planet, and then just like, a bunch of waves and like a little Superman S in it, because there's thousands and thousands of Supermen of Clark Kent's just helping little people all over the world. And it's perfect Superman. Mark Waid gets it.
Yeah.
Yes,
and his motivation too, like that he said, like, other guys are trying to save as many people as they can, and all the other heroes are doing this thing, but I'm trying to make people believe that there will be a time after this, like that there will be a hope after this battle.
He puts on his old suit on purpose. He tries to he wants people to see Superman still is trying. There's still hope. There's still hope. Like it's like it's a wonderful tour. Yeah. Even if it's hopeless, he's still going to try. That was great. It was the reason to read this whole thing, and I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And I like the last panel with him, Lois, and John like flying off, and they give Mom a cape.
Yeah, she gets a cape. Yeah, that was cool.
If anyone's wondering if JD read it, nope. No, he did not. Let's move on to the second book. Any last thoughts about this whole shebang?
I thought really artistically interesting that you don't ever see. Donna Troy is writing the word together, which is Titans Together is a common thing that they say, and it is the title of that framing device story. She's writing that on the beach, but you don't ever see it fully written out. And I thought that was an interesting and cool choice.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah. I did notice that, because you're waiting for
drawing it.
You're waiting for the reveal of it together, but the together is that final splash page of all of them together. So,
Yeah.
It was dope. I did like that.
Did you see all of it?
No, but that's if you put the pages together like that.
Oh, yeah, I was reading it digitally. So that cool, interesting choice was not. That's not the
because
case.
It's not a 2-page spread digitally.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Right,
well, screw your format. Or it's good to know that it reads great in both formats.
That's good too.
So let's move on at just the right speed about to the next book we're going to talk about really, really quick, which is Homesick Pilots #1 by Image Comics, written by Dan Waters with art by Casper Wingard. In the summer of 1994, a haunted house walks across California. Inside is Amy, lead singer of a high school punk band who's been missing for weeks. How did she get there, and what do these ghosts want? Expect 3-chord songs and big bloody action. That's Power Rangers meets The Shining. Yes, really. What did you guys think of Homesick Pilots #1? That was the solicit. It's actually got that joke at the end of it and everything.
I see. I'll tell you, I didn't think that, but but it was pretty cool. I am not into the punk scene in any way, so that vibe is not something that resonates with me that much. But the art is cool. The main character, Amy, she seems interesting. The interactions between the people was kind of fairly cookie cutter, like I'm a badass storytelling kind of thing. Right. And the only part that I really felt didn't work, but it was an interesting try, was that one scene in the middle where Noel is causing his fingers to meet in the middle of the screen.
Articulating the readout of the layout. There's a story device that they try where it's. Do you ever see that, or do you guys remember the Family Circus? Every once in a while they would do a thing where it's the little boy running through the whole town, and you just saw like a line of where he went and where he came just for one joke. This is kind of like that, where they have 2 people entering a house from 2 different directions, and it's a remove the walls, kind of show you where they move. But the conversations converge in the middle, and you don't exactly know where to start until you're halfway through one of them. Mm-hmm. And the art doesn't give you really any kind of like starting lines.
And I even missed it a couple of times. Like the way that I read it was traditional, upper left. And then you kind of, for a second, I'm like, do we go down? But I followed them through the house. And then when they meet and see each other, and it's a cool moment, them meeting and seeing each other. So it's a shame that it didn't flow. I don't know how you would get it to. But then I was like, wait, is it this line, the lower left, or that kind of thing? And then it took me a while to realize that the other one starts at the bottom right.
Yeah, the shame of it is that usually back in my day, when they would do things like this in comic books, the artist would maybe spoon feed you a little bit and put a little arrow that directs your eye as to which way you're supposed to go. But now we're too cool for directions. So you're just supposed to figure it out with the flow. And it also doesn't help that story element is preceded by you following one set of characters going into the house, but you don't really see the other group of characters get into the house. If you saw them, getting into the house on that other page, then you're like, oh, I see, which way they're going.
Yeah, completely agree. They didn't set up that second group. They were absent the 2 scenes beforehand. So I started top left also, and then realized in the middle of the house, like, oh wait, these aren't the same characters. It's another 2. Yeah. And then I went back down to the bottom. When it was all done after my initial confusion, I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And there is color coding, which I didn't realize until now. Like the other group is kind of yellow, and the main group is kind of red and bluish, but they look very similar other than that. So I didn't realize that they were different people.
It's like 10 degrees too subtle.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah.
If there was one arrow, a half a scene that established the other group, it wasn't a deal breaker, but it was definitely I tried a little too hard and just like, we'll do it just like a little bit less. But besides that, I actually really dug it. I like this a lot. I like this a lot in so much as it was familiar but original. It was familiar in a lot of the haunted house kind of disaffected youth kind of ways, but how it's shaping up to be and what happens in the last act or the last like 5 pages was a tinge of original. The problems that these kids have, like I get it, disaffected youth and rebelling, but the specific problems that they have, I don't read about often. They're all like they call themselves the homesick pilots because they're all from foster homes. Mm-hmm. They're currently living in foster homes. So like that kind of conflict is one I'm not familiar with personally. You don't really see it that much. You've got like one orphan or something, but this is like a disparate group that finds each other. Things get real quick, which I always kind of dig. Like it's posturing until somebody actually like gets stabbed, and you're like, what the fuck? Like that happened really fast, and that was effective.
Yeah, and this one it's not just stab, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
it's a lot like more real than that.
Yeah, and I also was incredibly intrigued by the opening. The opening is crazy.
I was. Yeah. I will give it up.
The Power Ranger things comes from. That's where the Power Ranger thing comes from.
Oh, you think because of the walking house? I guess.
Yeah.
Do they have walking houses or like walking buildings?
Yes, it's all about walking houses. Oh, well, I mean, it's just
that's what they're.
I think it's like the whole kaiju type of deal.
I gotcha.
Pilots inside of big machines, right? Little pilots inside of big body machines and kaiju. So the idea of, like the book just starts with this house becoming a big haunted robot house and a little girl inside of it. It was. And
I heard I didn't see coming the thing at the end where it's like, oh, I'm going to find pieces of this house. I was unusual and interesting.
Yeah, I was wondering. It seemed like the whole story was told in this issue, and then that last little coda of it's pieces of it everywhere, and now it seems like this girl is an agent of the house, which is really I'm not familiar with the conceit, at least in this format.
Yeah, I'm guessing like we see a kid in the beginning that was the house liked him, but then he got out, and I'm guessing the house is searching for somebody that could fulfill this role for it. And they hinted at it earlier, which I didn't think of until now. They go in and they're like, somebody stole the toilet. Like there's a lot of things here that are missing. So like this house has been looted for a long time, and the pieces are far and wide, one would assume.
Yeah, I want to read the whole arc about the copper tubing or the copper pipes that people stripped. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed it. Like you said, it's got familiar trappings, but on a whole, there was enough originality. What I also liked is that there was enough clarity to the story. Like it wasn't trying to push in too much stuff. It was like keeping it lean and simple so that you could really, sit with the characters enough so that you could feel them. Yeah. Some of them got like, the big bad jerk off type of thing, but you still felt like they came off as real. I will say this, part of the dialogue it almost felt like a little not spot on, like what kids sound like. It sounded like a little bit like either an adult or maybe like somebody from Britain writing American slang.
That's exactly what I wondered, because they use the word meant to, like, oh, we're meant to find this out. And that is not something that American people really say. And there was another one, and I wondered if it actually was a British writing.
Yeah, that was the only thing. But even with that, it was like, okay, I forgive it. On a whole, it was cool, and I really liked the art. I really do like the art. I thought it was
Casper Wingard is I've only seen him once before. And it was for a Dynamite series with Kieran Gillen, Peter Cannon. And it's weird. It's weird and amazing and stuff. And I've never seen him since. But he does have it almost looks like clean, articulated action figures. However, he still imbues them with personality, which is in itself kind of impressive. Yeah. And then things usually kind of go gross, and it's shocking. So like this is definitely in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give the going back to the credits. I want to give the drummer some for the colorist because I like the colors. I think the colors are really spot on this, and I'm assuming the colorist is Casper himself because there's no individual colors.
Just artist. Yeah.
So
yeah,
Casper got some skills.
Yeah, I agree. There's like a mix of muted and vibrant
Mm-hmm.
in the book. That's very cool. It gives a cool feel.
Yeah, if any of these little keywords have piqued interest, this is definitely a first issue that's worth grabbing. You know, horror but colorful but muted, but like it's just fun. This is a fun book.
Yeah, and it's horror on like that, Sabrina level horror.
Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, it's not like Hill House murders.
Right.
It's more like kids getting into some real shit.
Even though this is only the first issue, so who knows?
Yeah, the second issue has like this horseshoe that she's going to find looks almost in like a costume symbol place, and somebody has this like visor kind of thing. I wonder how sci-fi this book will get. Like, is this house an alien kind of presence or something like that?
I don't know, but looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So the last thing that we're going to talk about, I don't know if JD's going to jump in for this or if he wants to, is Sword number 1, written by Al Ewing with art by Valerio Chidi, which is the team that did Empire. One giant leap for mutant kind. The mutant nation of Krakoa has quickly become a major force on the world stage, but why stop there? Krakoa has relaunched the Sentient World Observation and Response Directorate, SWORD, Sentient World Observation and Response Directorate, a fully independent organization dealing with all things extraterrestrial on behalf of all Earth. Al Ewing and Sheedy bring us a tale of mutant kind looking to do for the galaxy what Krakoa did for the planet. I cannot say it, Valerio. So what did you guys think? JD.
I thought this was fun. Hey.
Valerio.
Yeah, I know how to. I see it and I hear it in my head. My tongue doesn't want to do it.
So what did you guys think about that DC book?
Well, let me tell you in detail.
Hi guys.
Let's go.
Page 3 was as follows.
Let's do a third opening for the show.
Have you recorded?
Nope.
I told them.
The thing you specifically reminded me to do, didn't do it.
So look, let's kill some time. What did you guys think of Death Metal DC last story of the DC book? I want to talk about the third one.
I'm recording. Here we go. All right. So S-Word number 1. This was great. I was trying really hard to do a Brandon Jackson shorts wherein something is coming down the pike and I decide arbitrarily that I need to read and experience everything up until that point in order to start this book. And I was trying to get through the 10 of Swords, Jimmy Jam, and then I failed. So this morning I woke up and the first thing I did was open up Sword number 1. No idea what to expect. And a lot of my customers had said, yeah, you should read 10 of Swords before you read Sword. It's important. Reading this book, I don't know why it was important, but it was totally fine to just jump in with Sword number 1. So if you haven't read A Ten of Swords, I would say just jump in with Sword. And I'm a big fan of Abigail Brand. I was really excited to read this, and I think it was great. There's a little piece in there where it changes storytelling format, and it gets a little wonky, and I don't know if I enjoyed that as much. But the first issue as a whole was great.
Who is, outside of the commander of Sword, who is Abigail Brand? I don't know.
She's a mutant that was introduced by Joss Whedon in Astonishing X-Men. She is just like a mutant bureaucrat who is very concerned with protecting Earth from all cosmic threat.
Okay.
So I don't even know what her mutant power is. I think they've always been cagey about it.
She used to get down with Beast. Her and Beast were an item for a little while back. Is he still a cat-looking dude?
No, he's blue and furry, but he's back to It's kind of more gorilla-ish, but it's more like his original blue furry form.
Yeah. During his second mutation, where he looked more cat-like, she and him were an item. And also, she's the type of person who, if Captain Marvel is not keeping her abreast of the situation, will walk into a party and punch her in the face.
Yeah, we read that. Yeah.
That happened in Empire, one of the Empire issues, and I was like, oh, I like her.
Yeah, I'd say if anything, like if you had to read anything before this, it would be Empire more than the Ten of Swords stuff.
Yeah, I want points for that. I think that's what I was trying to decry constantly. Like, no, it's just Empire. You read Empire.
Like I'm sure
I read X of Swords. I mean, it wasn't. It didn't really lead into this other than like one story thread. There was no mounds of literature that explained everything that was in this book.
Although
like this is how they have
the first 7 or 8 chapters of it, and so far I'm digging it.
Oh yeah, but as far as it needing to be a primer for this, I don't think so at all.
No, other than you look at Sword, the space station, and it's covered in Krakoa leaves.
Right.
But that's something you can be like, oh, I guess something happened wherein, so, now they have this. It's not like you're not lost, I actually thought it was an excellently done first issue. Like as a first, like you don't really need to know anything ahead of this. There were some things that I didn't know, and it was like, there's Magneto references Peepers, and I didn't know who that was. Fabian Cortez looks kind of familiar, but I couldn't tell. So there's like old relationships that are referenced, but not in such a way that it messed with the story if you didn't know, but you thought it was cool if you did, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I liked it, and it must be saying something if I liked it. It is. First of all, Valerio Schiti, raw, like a month.
Yeah.
Like even if I didn't understand the story all along, and I didn't, because I agree with you, JD. There is a moment where the storytelling gets a little wonky, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm feeling this, but I don't care. It looks cool as shit, and even when it gets wonky on purpose story-wise. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, it fits. And honestly, I kind of just gazed over those portions. Same. I don't feel like I lost anything at the end. So I'm like, all right, it's cool. It's like they went into some weird stuff. But I dug it. I dug Magneto because, talk about somebody who I think plays better as like an anti-hero. I love like anti-hero Magneto. I don't like villainous Magneto. I just like just a cut above, like arrogant, puffed up chest, what's white suit Magneto. I love that. Comes floating there on his metal ball. Why? Because, I'm just flexing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just boss. And I like this Abigail Brand. I've seen her before, but I just never really gave a care because Sword was usually in some book for like a page or two, or somebody's going to be running through Sword, and they don't seem like they got their shit together, so I didn't really care. But she seemed cool as shit in here. And then the last panel of the book, you find out that she is rocking, Han Solo's belt. There's not a whole lot of people that can pull off Han Solo's belt, and she pulls it off. And with her little shoe boots, I was like, okay, Abigail, I see you, girl. Yo, I'm with you. I feel you. I feel you, Sword. I'm there, Sword. I was liking this. This is fun.
I'm going to be honest. I have literally been looking on the internet for a Han Solo belt that I can keep my wallet and phone in.
Sweet.
Wow.
And they make them, but like they're always like big and bulky, and I just want like a little thing, but within the two belts, and it kind of attaches to the hip. Oh, yeah, man, I would love that.
I think you are one of those people that could. You, Abigail Brand, and Han Solo.
Nice, that's it. Yeah. Us three.
Yeah, so get that belt.
Yeah.
I thought this was fine.
Huh.
No, I think it was for me, it read like a long walk off a short pier. So like it was a lot of explaining to just simply say, oh yeah, these 6 teleporters can punch through time and space. Like it was a lot. primer for that one conceit, which I actually like as a conceit, but it reminded me a lot. But it left me a little cold. It reminded me a lot of Al Ewing did something like this before, right outside of Secret Wars, with Ultimates and Kenneth Rocafort. Was it? Yeah. Ultimates 2 or something like that. But it was the whole series was huge, cosmic, about a sixth unknown isotope that was created because of the world being rebooted over and over again and punching through the cosmos in order to collect it and study it and stuff. So this was just like, and that left me cold after like an issue or two, and this just reminded me of that negatively. But I liked the characters a lot. I liked the design of it a lot. So maybe it just was a first issue info dump that I responded adversely to. I don't know.
Interesting.
But everything you guys are saying is great.
Like, I guess there is a lot, but to me, it wasn't just all of this in order to get to this. It was like, here's our cast of characters. Here's where they come from. Here's how they're interacting now. And here's how we're taking the conceit of the five who are the Krakoan resurrection crew. And we're using that, but we're using it in a different way. I like that there's this new thing with these characters, and the creators are trying to see how they can use every character's ability in tandem with each other to create a new power. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I the mutant technology thing. I think that's a really cool. It's one of those, like, this is something you might do if there were actual people with superpowers that don't have to maintain a story status quo kind of thing.
I love the idea. I love the conceit too of the way that they presented in the book and those text pieces is, if the fastball special is remedial math of 1 + 1 = 2, the 5 and the 6 is kind of like the high level algebra version of taking those abilities and putting them towards each, like leveraging them against each other in order to create a different outcome. So like, I think that's great. The whole issue was just about that, and it was a little bit of a slog for me. Those text pieces were fine, but I paused and went back a couple times. And Valerio Shidi's faces are not that great. So
this is begging to be a meme.
Also, why is Wanda still a pretender? Like, Disney owns the Fox stuff now. Like, can they not just go back to being mutants? Like, I assume that was why they did that.
Yeah, she, well, like at first, like when she was considered a mutant and then took away and destroyed all of them, it was a little bit of forgiveness. But then, her being revealed as a experiment of the high evolutionary. Now she's the pretender. She's no longer a mutant. She's just an aggressor.
Especially since it's not supposed to. I guess they retcon. She's no longer Magneto's son or daughter.
Or his son.
Yeah, neither.
Neither one.
But I do like that was the part of the book that I liked the most. The idea of intergalactic political intrigue. The fact that now the king of the Shi'ar and Skrull Empire is the son-in-law, or the son-in-law of the great pretender who decimated all of mutantdom. I think is really cool. So that stuff I really like. I wish that was a little, maybe in further issues it'll be a little bit heavier over the science bit. Just balance them for me.
Well, I think they did on that line. They did a really good job, I thought, of setting up, like, here's how Abigail Brand ties into the mutant stuff, but here is why she also has broader concerns beyond, like, I need to focus on the whole solar system, but yes, I work very closely with the mutants.
There's a couple of series.
Can we take a second to acknowledge that the credit sequence of this intro take place about 3 issues before the end of the issue?
Right.
Yeah,
When I got to this, I was like, "Oh, I guess this is the end of the issue." We're still going. We're still going. Oh, okay, and now it's done.
The cold open was 3/4 of the book. So there's been a couple of series, and I can't completely think of the right one right now, where the first issue has left me cold, but 2 or 3 in, I'm really digging with it. And Far Sector is a really good example. That first issue was just like an info dump for me, and I was a little bit like arm's length with it, but as soon as we actually got into the meat of the story, it's the greatest thing in the world. And that made me think that needed to be a larger format, not just a single issue. This feels like it should have been a double, because they spend so long kind of establishing the status quo And even the way that they have that, like the end, the opening credit sequence done, and it's like the end of the book. It's like, you should make this double, like really kind of establish what the thread is for these characters that you just spent 20 pages introducing me to. It feels missing for me. But
I just have to chime in with Alexander commented on YouTube. Marvel sucks and their garbage movies ruined Hollywood and inspired trash like DC Rebirth and Doomsday Clock and Three Jokers. So it sounds like his position is Marvel sucks. And they suck so much that they make DC suck too. What?
I also don't really see a big through line between Marvel movies and those three projects that you mentioned. Well, there you go.
Well, Alexander, let us know what comics you're reading and which ones you enjoy. If you don't like Marvel, which ones are you enjoying?
Yeah.
Are we done with this book?
I guess so.
Len?
Yes, I'm done.
Great.
Yeah. But JD, I'm glad that you stopped by because I so love to hear you talk about Patreon.com.
Well, I'll tell you, Brian. I'll tell you some more about Patreon.com right now. If you go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo, you can give us money, and that would help the show. And we would love that. If you don't have any money, please just like and comment and subscribe and do all that stuff to help out our fledgling little YouTube channel. You can also check us out on Facebook Live and on Twitch. And throughout the week we do Thunder Rounds, which are 60-second reviews. So, I mean, there's a reason for you to hang out with us, to quote Scott Pilgrim. Just go to youtube.com/CultPOPGo. And also, if you can't watch us here, like Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight, longtime friend of the show, is not going to be able to join us for the live streams, but he'll still be able to listen to the audio podcasts. We take the YouTube and we put it on audio and we edit it down just a fraction. And that's it. That'd be great. Thank you so much. Len, it's time for Gutter Talk.
Yes, it is time for Gutter Talk, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we sit around and we chop it up about all of the crazy things that have been happening, just like we do as if we were in the comic book shop. We come in and we talk shit. And right now, there's a whole lot of shit to talk about because Disney and /Marvel had this huge investors call where they dropped, Noel said it, a metric ton of news out there. And we've got thoughts and opinions about them, but I believe we have to make way for a very special guest to join us for this segment. Is that not right, Noel?
No, he's not here.
Oh, well.
Let's just be quiet until he joins us.
Brandon, if you want to join us for this conversation, please jump on the stream.
Yes, and begin recording on Audacity at the same time, or before.
Well, we'll see if Brandon chimes in, ladies and gentlemen. But
we can carry on with it. So
I'm confused. He's here.
He's here?
I don't see him on the stream.
Hey, there he is.
Oh, there you are.
And now he's gone.
You do it or I'll do it.
He bamfed out of the podcast. That's cool. I want to touch on this real quick. Alexander, he's saying that he rage quit comics because of what DC did to Dr. Manhattan. And I've seen this time and time again on Facebook and what have you, that someone doesn't like what one publisher does so much that they're just like, that's it, I'm out. No comics for me. And to me, that's like, man, I really didn't like the ABC's decision on Ally McBeal, so that's it. No more television ever. I'm done with watching videos as a format of entertainment. I'm peacing out. Like, if you don't like one publisher or even two publishers, if you don't like the big two, I don't understand why you're not reading Image or Boom or many of the other indie books. You know what I mean? I never understand, like, I'm going to quit an entire format of entertainment because I didn't like what this particular thing did.
Well, I also can we like slightly investigate why you're getting so rageful about fiction?
Well, no, he's allowed to have his
No, I know, but so much so that you absolve yourself of it in a loud manner as much as humanly possible.
Well, I think in that case, it always means that like he really liked what was happening, and then it went a different way, and it just wasn't what he was interested in anymore.
But to reflexively convulse in anger is not healthy, right?
Oh.
Like, hey, I'm just going to take my time. Like, I'm disliking some books. I'm gonna take them off my pull list. I'm going to read something else. Like, not in a fuck this format, fuck DC, fuck Marvel. Like, relax.
To be fair, he hasn't dropped any F-bombs.
I just did.
That is true. That is true. But people feel what they feel. Although he, apparently he says he only likes superheroes when they're dark and edgy and depressing and, in his estimation, realistic. And DC Rebirth and Doomsday Clock weren't like that for him. Although Three Jokers, I think, is pretty grim, at least.
It's very grim.
Metal.
Yeah.
Wait, are you trolling?
Yeah,
Alex,
it's possible.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. I'm just sitting here watching y'all all lean into it.
Whatever.
And we have so much to discuss. Why are we dealing with it anyway?
Yeah,
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. You notice.
Sorry for hijacking my show with conversation. Go on.
We're not saying you're hijacking the show, but I'm saying nobody's like, all right, he shared his piece. That's how he feels. All right, rock on, bruh.
Yeah.
I forget that we have those gifts at our disposal. We need more of them. It's amazing. I'm sorry, Len, go on. Gutter talk. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Disney investor call where they dropped all of this news about all of this stuff that is coming your way, ladies and gentlemen, coming your way. And Brandon is here. Brandon,
Yay.
First of all, you're joining us. Are you recording?
Yeah.
Oh, Brandon. Oh, I love Brandon.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I don't remember exactly when I started, but yeah, you'll figure it out.
Figure it
That's
out.
when the audio starts.
We'll figure it out, Brandon. So, Brandon, since you did the compiling of all these copious notes,
I only did half. Noel did the other half, to be fair.
I did the Marvel. He did the Star Wars.
I don't want to take credit for what Noel did.
Jesus Christ,
I'm going to call you out.
Nobody was going to. Brandon, then can you go over the notes that you did in the notes? Introduce us to what happened on Disney/Marvel's investor call this past week.
So I didn't listen in on the call, but I listened. I read everything that happened. They basically announced that they're going to have like 10 new. I don't know if they said 10 new shows specifically, but 10 new at least properties in the Star Wars universe over the next few years. They announced something called The Acolyte, which is going to be set during the High Republic era, which is a new era that Disney's going to be exploring. It's going to be 200 years before the prequels. And that
200 years before the prequels.
Yeah, which is an interesting call because most people wanted like thousands of years before. Yeah. So the fact that it's still like relatively close annoyed some people, but people are still excited. So we got that, and there's not much like to talk about with that one. It's going to be a mystery thriller, apparently.
I see where those people are coming from, though. Like 200 years, it could be very cool, but yeah, thousands of years excite. Like the beginning of it all, that excites me.
Because like the old Republic game, played during that time, so people want that.
It's been explored, right?
Yeah, but people want it in canon now. They want all of their stuff to be canon.
If you don't play the games, then
So this, I'm sorry, I was chatting with one of the commenters. Are you talking about the High Republic?
Yeah.
That's only 200 years? Oh, okay. I've been telling everybody it's like 1,000 years in the past, but I guess that's the Old Republic.
Yeah.
So in case anyone doesn't know, not only is there this show that's coming, which takes place towards the end of the High Republic, there is it's a whole launching system of comics, YA novels, regular novels, a whole bunch of stuff is coming about the High Republic that the Star Wars crew has been working on. It's a whole new era of Star Wars. So it's a bunch of stuff coming your way about the High Republic, just so everyone knows.
This is the live action version of that big relaunch that they finally announced.
Yeah, and I think what Brandon's point is, fans are excited about it because this era of Star Wars, which has been examined in the past, was examined in work that is now, for one reason or another, and some aspect or another, not considered canon. So now the Disney and Lucasfilm are having an opportunity to make this stuff truly canonical with the Star Wars story, proper, as well as giving them a wide universe in which to play in without upsetting the apple cart of the future of Star Wars too much, because now they can just kind of like play around in the past and stuff.
And they're doing interesting things with it. I mean, none of it's come out yet, obviously, but it sounds interesting. So I'm excited. I'm excited for all the High Republic stuff, and a show definitely sounds great. So,
Action Figure Expert brings an interesting point. 200 years before the prequels, Yoda is probably alive.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, they've shown him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
One of those comics news sites had a picture of Yoda, and it's like it's not your father's Yoda. Apparently, he's.
I guess my dad doesnn't own any part of the Star Wars franchise.
200 years younger than when we met him would make him like a 45-year-old.
Well, I thought he was like 900 years old, right?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like 700-year-old.
Oh, right. Yeah,
he's old. That's all that matters.
I do. The one aspect of the High Republic, I think, the book that's coming out that I thought was really cool is that it's focused on a bunch of Padawans, and one of them's a Wookiee.
Yeah,
which I've never seen. I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway,
yeah, that'll be fun. It's like the High Republic stuff. They said it's going to be more kind of like Knights of the Round Table era stuff. Like that's going to be how the Jedi are going to be operating. Like they're going to be more knights, and I think kind of like a mix of like Western and medieval type stuff, where they're going to be kind of like sheriffs ish. Like it's going to be a little more Wild West than the prequels and everything after. The next
did see
stuff,
that people are very upset because there's a 15-year-old Padawan who becomes a Jedi.
Is that a
They're
problem?
very mad that she gets to become a Jedi at 15.
Why?
she's
Is that too
I mean,
early?
Listen, I didn't dive into the comments, but my assumption is it's a girl.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. I think also, I think in general, people just get annoyed whenever anything Disney related happens at this point. Like people just don't want Disney Star Wars, and they don't want to like it.
Then
So-
stop.
So when
stop
you
paying
say
attention to it.
people, is it a majority or just a
No.
really
I mean,
loud,
not to me.
technically savvy minority?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a minority of people.
That one. I'm sorry, Brandon,
Anyway.
continue.
Number
Do you want me
two.
to go to the next one?
Oh
Yeah, keep it moving.
Sorry.
The next thing is the only thing I can find between the prequel and OT era is the Bad Batch. That's not true. There's one more. But the Bad Batch is one thing between the prequel and OT era, which I didn't know, because the Bad Batch first appeared in Clone Wars. And so I assumed this was going to follow their adventures during Clone Wars. But no, it's going to be a clone squadron who they're called the Bad Batch because they all have some
Defect.
deficiency. Yeah, defects that make them better in some way. Like one person I think was like had like really good eyesight or something. One person was like overly strong, stuff like that. So they're called the Bad Batch, and they usually during
How are
the
those
Clone Wars.
defects?
Well, it's defects because they're different than all the other clones.
Oh,
Like they're when it's a clone, you want it to be exact. So
yes.
it was like they would do the missions that like other clones couldn't necessarily do. And they appeared in like one arc of season 7 of the Clone Wars. And I expected that their show would be about their other adventures during the Clone Wars, but no, apparently this is going to be set post Order 66 and everything. And it's going to be them, I assume, fighting with the rebellion and going on missions with that. So that sounds pretty cool.
Christopher St. Sassy suggested you should that I should check out Jedi. You took it away. The Jedi Knight books because Chewie's
Young Jedi
nephew.
Knights.
Yeah. No, because it's not canon. So it's a sequel to the Clone Wars cartoon.
Yes.
Direct sequel to the Clone Wars cartoon.
The 7th season of the Clone Wars introduced this new bunch of clones called the Bad Batch, and I was like, oh, that's strange to introduce an entirely new set of clones at the very end of a show. I wonder if this is going to be a spin. Oh, yeah, it's a spinoff.
It's I find it weird that it's, I don't know. I guess I really like the prequel era, so I would have liked more stuff during that time. But the in-between era can be fun too. So I guess we'll see where it goes. The other thing, we already knew about the Obi-Wan series, I think.
Yes.
But they have announced that Hayden Christensen will be returning in some capacity as Darth Vader.
Why?
That's fun.
Yeah.
Why?
I hate you guys.
Why is Hayden Christensen coming back?
I
I'm
forgot
excited.
that you guys.
Yeah.
I haven't been on here in a while. I've just been on
No,
places where
I
people
think it's
like the
great.
prequels. I forgot that
I
you
think
guys.
it's wait. I don't like the prequels, but I have no issue with Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Jumper was cool.
I do. Hayden Christensen is a bad actor. Hayden Christensen is just that's it. He's a bad actor. Like he's not good. You know, lest anybody. That's not Hayden Christensen. The person over to that gentleman's right, who is barely on screen, that's Hayden Christensen. That's the person we don't want. Who the one who doesn't look like he knows what he's doing.
Listen.
What?
Nobody in the prequels acted well. It was on
Obi-Wan was
purpose.
pretty good.
Like even actors that I love and respect, like Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman, I watched agape as they just like dribbled out dialogue. It was awful, and it was all on purpose apparently, because George Lucas is like, that's the way serials used to be. I don't care about current modern storytelling.
Right.
Across the board, it was all very mechanical and stilted.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen him in other things, and he's a very good actor. So
I've seen him in other things too, and I haven't liked him in anything that I've seen him in.
Did you see Jumper, Glenn?
I saw that piece of crap Jumper.
Yeah, it was fun. Now, but you also raise a good point. Regardless of his skill or quality as an actor, why is he in this? Like, will we ever see him? But presumably, but like, how is he?
The announcement explicitly was Hayden Christensen returns as Darth Vader,
Right.
and like they said Darth Vader, and it takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. Exactly 10 years.
Okay.
So
is James Earl Jones?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He might be doing voice. I mean, he did the voice during Rebels.
And if there is a television show on right now. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called The Mandalorian. The main character has only been without his helmet twice in 2 seasons, so they can make it work. It's fine.
Also, I mean, the gentleman who played what was his name?
David Prowse.
Prowse. He just passed away recently, so I guess they need a Vader to fill that helmet.
Oh, and I'm sure he was quite old.
So if you're telling me that they're bringing back Hayden Christensen so that he can just be the man in the suit, so that James Earl Jones can do the voice, then I'm saying, okay, I'm all for Hayden Christensen. Good on you, dog. I think that dough.
Have any of you guys read any of the Darth Vader comics?
Yes.
1 or 2 for
Yes, I've read a couple of them. They're pretty good.
In some of those, like, there'll be times where he'll go to like his own special place and he'll have the armor off. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's stuff like that.
And they've also gone out of their way to do a lot of flashbacks, to do stuff where he's half helmet off. Like there's ways to incorporate the actor and not just be a dude in a suit with a different voice.
Yeah.
I think
would be
cool.
surprised if there was like force generated conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Next.
The next, there's 2, but they're set during the same era. Rangers of the New Republic and the Ahsoka series. So Rangers of the New Republic is going to be like... Actually, I don't think we know much. All we know is that it's going to be set during... They're both going to be set during the era of The Mandalorian, and apparently might be crossing over with The Mandalorian in future seasons.
Oh, I think that's more than apparently. Like so these three series, Mandalorian, Rangers, and Ahsoka, are the 3 things in this little universe that are being controlled by Favreau and Filoni. So this is their little pocket of Star Wars, and the intention is for them to overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I'm very excited. Yeah.
Who are the Rangers? Who are these people?
We don't really know. I would no. Yes, JD.
Well, who are the Rangers? Correct me if I'm wrong. I probably am because I often am. But the two pilots that we have seen multiple times in the second season of The Mandalorian, it's another time where I was like, well, these are interesting characters to include. They seem like they're going to be part of a spin-off. I wonder if, you know what I mean? I wonder if they're going to be part of it.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I was thinking it's probably going to be like exploring the New Republic as it's growing. Because like the Mandalorian takes place like 5 years after the end of the Empire. So like the New Republic is still fairly new. And so I assume it's going to be about like growing a new like form of government and things like that.
And is Cara Dune I guess this was a few weeks ago. Sorry, for a moment I was like, wait, should I say anything about that? But this was like a couple of episodes ago of The Mandalorian. Is she now a ranger or is
she's
she
a marshal?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was just on the most recent episode. She's a marshal of the New Republic. I don't know how rank works.
Yeah.
But it sounds like this is going to be mostly almost like an Old West type of show, like branching out into either formerly controlled Empire territory or new territory in order to establish the New Republic.
And every time she hits the screen, I make this face.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's, you know what? Regardless of the actress, she's a very boring character.
Yeah.
She's just muscle that smirks, right? Like,
well, in her defense, she's not given much more to do than be muscle.
Yeah.
Right.
And smirk. So, and, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think much of Cara Dune as an actress, period. But in her defense, she's not given much to do. Here.
Sure.
And historically, as an actress, she hasn't been asked to do but so much. You know, she in many ways is a what was her name? Who was the wrestler that passed away now?
China.
Yeah, she's kind of like a prettier China. Like she's just muscle that maybe has a halfway decent, you know, attitude if written right, but pretty much she's just muscle, and that's all she really is.
She was a wrestler too, right? Or she was
she was MMA, I think.
MMA. Okay.
Oh.
She was a fighter.
But now let's get to Ahsoka. Let's get to Ahsoka.
I'm so excited. I love some Ahsoka.
I love some Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, both of those things. They're two great tastes that taste great together. I did not care much for the Clone Wars TV show. I keep struggling. I keep trying to get through it. I do, however, love Rebels show. I highly recommend Rebels to anyone who is enjoying Mandalorian and is curious about Ahsoka and the blue fellow. What's his name?
The blue what?
The one she's looking for?
Oh, Thrawn.
Thrawn. Yeah, that show is awesome. It starts off a little young, but as it goes through, it really elevates. It's really, really good. And I was really excited when she was cast, when Rosario Dawson was cast as Ahsoka. And then she was in her one episode, and then they waved goodbye, and I went, but what? Where isn't she going to be on the show? And so I was very excited that she's gotten her own show coming up. Are you guys excited about this?
Very much so. Yeah.
I'm very, very excited.
Plus, the Force and the Jedi and that kind of thing.
That was really creepy, Brendan.
Very, very excited.
I was thinking about other stuff, and honestly, not even her. I'm more thinking about like the things that could happen in the show. Because I've said this before. For me, Star Wars is about the Jedi.
Yeah.
Like the less Jedi stuff there is, the less I care, honestly. So an Ahsoka show definitely excites me.
I'm right with you, Brandon. Like all the sci-fi stuff is cool, but the Force is the thing about Star Wars that I'm the most interested in.
I saw some wild speculation about even the so all they showed was the title treatment.
Yeah.
But it looks like the Veil of the Force. That the show will focus on that. The thing that's in Rebels, right? Or in Clone Wars and Rebels, the idea of like the God, I only cursory kind of know what it is. It's just essentially a pocket of time, right? That they can pierce.
They can go into it, travel into it using portals.
Yeah.
Ahsoka in general has been connected to that a few times. Like there was a 3-episode arc in Clone Wars, and there's this owl that Ahsoka has that was originally the owl of like a Force being, and that owl has been shown with Ahsoka a lot, and it's followed her around a lot. And we don't exactly know when. I don't think we know when she got the owl, but that's always been connected to her. So it would make sense that this is probably going to explore that stuff because, with Ahsoka being, she's always been the closest to what people refer to as a gray Jedi, which doesn't really exist, because the idea of a gray Jedi is someone who uses both the dark side and the light side equally. But in my opinion, that doesn't really work. You usually lean one way or the other.
Oh, see, I disagree. I was really hoping that the sequel trilogy was going to be like, enough of this light and dark. Like, let's get deeper than that and explore the Force and that kind of thing. Like,
but then
in the Legends, there are the Yuuzhan Vong.
But then it always
see light and dark.
At least in the way that the Force is described in canon, and I hate differentiating because Legends and canon both have good stuff. But at least from what I've seen in canon, you usually lean one way or the other, and it's usually it's very difficult, I think, to be equal, like completely in the middle. So yeah, but Ahsoka has always been the closest to that. She's like, she renounced the Jedi and everything, but she still practices like the light side teachings and stuff. So that's why she's always been a very interesting character, especially post Clone Wars and after she left and everything. Yeah,
I've always thought that with like how the interplay with like real world philosophy or whatever it goes, it's like that would be a better, the things that the light side says are not always so great, even though they in canon are good. It's like, well, maybe the element of the dark side, like feelings are not necessarily bad, that kind of thing. So I would like to see an exploration of that, like somebody who doesn't look at it as light and dark.
Although, I mean, I don't know that we'll get that with Ahsoka unless she changes, because I mean, she was like emotions definitely messed up her best friend and mentored her, so she's definitely not going to be. I think she's more likely to believe those teachings post Darth Vader than she would have been before. So yeah,
I'm just looking forward to it because I think this would be, as far as I can tell, the first time a Star Wars property will be, headed up by, for all intents and purposes, a person of color. Now, you might say that the Mandalorian is technically a person of color, but he's in his helmet the whole time, so you can't really go by that. His view, the silhouette of the Mandalorian is in the helmet. This is going to be a person of color. Boom, right there on the screen.
Wait, what color? Orange?
Well, whatever. It's still.
That's her species color. You know what I mean? Like, he takes off his helmet, you can see his face sometimes.
Yeah, but the thing is that she's not, she's not, look, it's not a white person, right? Let's put it out there. She's not, she's not a white person that is supposed to be an alien, but is more, for all intents and purposes, a white person up on the screen. This will not be a white person on the screen. You take off whatever paint they put on her, she's still going to be a person of color. And this is the first time that a Star Wars property will have someone like that as the lead of anything that it has done. And canonically, let's put, because I haven't read out, the legends and all that type of stuff. So I'm interested in that. And if before all you comic book readers, get on me about canonically there was a Lando Calrissian comic book, that's great, but that wasn't live action, that wasn't up on the screen. And as far as the average person is concerned, and I would dare to say the average Star Wars person is concerned, their canon starts and stops with the moving pictures, be they animated on television or up on the big screen.
I mean, let's be real. They can say that a comic or a novel is canon as much as they want. It's not once a moving picture decides to contradict it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is always how it is,
The movies are always first.
Yeah, but there is a Lando thing coming up, right?
That was what I was going to say.
Oh, there we go.
Depends on which comes first, because she might not be the first. Because we are getting a Lando series apparently. So who knows? What is that going to be about? Who knows? That's all we have as a title.
Exactly.
Who's going to be in it? Is it going to be Billy D? Is it going to be Donald Glover? Who knows?
It's not going to be Billy D. I can tell you right now, it's not going to be Billy D. Williams.
I don't know, even also just for like when things are happening, are any of these things set after the most recent movies? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I guess you could see Billy D. Williams before.
Yeah, this could be before, like between the OT and the sequels.
That's true.
I mean, I doubt it. It's probably going to be Donald Glover, but just for the sake of conversation, it could happen in that time.
I guarantee it's not going to be Donald Glover either. They're going to find because remember, Donald Glover is Lando at the beginning of Han Solo.
Yeah, it can't.
So he definitely could have grown to look a lot different.
Yeah,
depending on when they pick up this story. It's not going to be Donald Glover.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty big. Although, you know, Rosario Dawson is somebody that I would not have anticipated being in a show either.
Disney Plus pays a lot of money, guys.
Sure, right.
Yeah, Disney plays a lot of money. And Rosario Dawson, to be fair, her career has always been, she's kind of like going back and forth, especially over the last 2 years, between movies and television. I mean, remember, she was big on all the Netflix shows as well. You know what I mean?
She's also going to be in the new DMZ adaptation for HBO Max.
Right. So as opposed to Donald Glover, who is, yes, he is a big name star, but he also dips his toe into a bunch of different things as well. So
Ewan McGregor is in one of these, which is, I mean, he's still a pretty big star.
He was just in a whole season of Fargo.
Those lines are very blurred. Yeah,
that's true.
But,
I actually want to ask real quick, do I sound okay? Like I'm having hella technical difficulties.
No, you sound great.
I think it's going to be Donald Glover. I 100% think it's going to be Donald Glover. Yeah, because if you look at like the showrunner, Justin Simeon, is it?
I think so.
He's the creator of Dear White People.
Like, but he also did Bad Hair on Hulu. Which
I didn't see it.
It's not.
But it just it makes me think that he's waiting, like it's like a handshake kind of agreement, and he's waiting to see how it develops and what it is before fully committing. Because he's on record as saying he loves the character. He had a hell of a good time doing it. Yes, we'll see kind of thing. I think he's just waiting, and it wasn't enough to announce today. Like if they're still in early days.
And we don't even know if this is a viable choice. Like it could be set in an era where he wouldn't make sense, or if it's set in an era where he would make sense, I don't think they would choose somebody else. You know?
I don't want to see. First of all, I don't want to see like I don't really have interest in a 14-year-old Lando learning how to fly.
No, I was thinking after that.
Nor do I necessarily want to, just as much as I don't want to see Harrison Ford be Indiana Jones again. I don't necessarily want to see geriatric or.
No, he means like in between.
He's talking about 40-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
More or less somebody else playing Billy D around the time that we first met him.
Yeah.
That's what he thinks. That's what he's saying.
Or even like Mandalorian era something or something.
That would be,
I mean, I don't know. I'm just putting out possibilities.
I don't know. You've got it. They have a legacy character that's already been played by two very well-known actors. I don't know if go with the third. You know what I mean?
Denzel Washington. If they had a story that maybe the past comes back to haunt him type of story where we get to see both actors play. If we had a bookend story where like, something that young Lando has done is also now coming back to affect older Lando, that could be cool, and you could have back and forth.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
They're not going to do that, and now I'm not going to be happy unless they do it.
Sorry.
I really want. The only thing I want is Donald Glover's involvement, only because he was so charming and so effective in like 3 scenes of Solo. I just want more of that.
And more. Was it K2SO?
She's dead. Oh, I mean, well, yeah. I guess
that was
if they go beforehand.
Rob, that was Rogue One.
Oh, shit. Who am I
you're talking
thinking
about
of?
L3.
God damn it.
Yeah, you're thinking of L3. I don't know. I will tell you this. I think Ahsoka's going to hit the screens before Lando.
Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to be way further along. I mean, they've already got
They've got Ahsoka.
Right, like she's been on screen already as with all the costumes and all that stuff.
And I assume Filoni will be involved in that, so they'll already have him too.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, with all of this news, because this is all so exciting, it's disappointing that there are 3 movies set significantly after all of these things that are in continuity.
Honestly, I feel that way about all of the movies. Like, for me, the best parts of Star Wars are the EU material, because I think they just do more interesting stuff with it, and it just sucks that it's always, like, it has to follow the movies.
Well, and I just mean, like, timeline-wise. Like, we have something that takes place 30 years after any of this, Yeah.
You know what? I used to feel that way, but then every single time that I do that, I end up enjoying or experiencing something, whether it's a comic or a TV show that proves me wrong. So I'm good.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll still enjoy it.
Did you guys talk about Andor already?
No, I skipped to Lando because we were talking about people of color.
So, I mean, Andor is the one that's coming first.
Is it?
Like that? They're about to film. Like they've been in rehearsals and set building for a while.
So what's Andor?
Andor is going to be following Cassian Andor from Rogue One, and it's going to be about him doing stuff for the rebellion. I think the quote was like, anything is worth it as long as it's for the rebellion or something like that. It sounds like it's going to be him doing a bunch of like somewhat shady stuff, and it's going to be showing the darker side of the rebellion. Yeah, the quote is, everything I did for the rebellion. So,
Curious to see how I'm going to care if I'm going to care about this, because I didn't care about him as a character in Rogue One at all.
Yeah,
I loved him in Rogue One.
Why?
Because he was an ass, but also very charming. Diego Luna's great.
The only thing I remember him doing was, I don't remember him being charming. I do remember him just straight up murdering somebody in the beginning of the movie, and I was like,
yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is like a good guy he will murder a friend.
I think that's what the show's going to be.
Yeah, conflicted. Very
just him murdering his friends.
Yes.
All in the name of the rebellion.
Yeah. Thank you for coming to my birthday party.
The title is going to be the name of a friend that he kills.
A conflicted for the greater good type of gray area show. They explicitly said it's a spy thriller, and it's by Tony Gilroy, the guy that did the last 3. He wrote all of the Bourne Supremacy movies, and it's going to be cool.
Is he not also a person of color, Diego Luna?
Yeah. The second one is terrible. The first and third one are spectacular.
I would like the idea of that, a spy thriller set in the Star Wars universe, if it was with a character that they haven't already killed off. Because to me, while you can have drama, don't get me wrong, you can have drama with a character that you know which way they're going to go, right? Case in point, Black Widow. We've seen, we think the end of Black Widow, yet there's a movie that's coming out and people are either going to enjoy it or not, right? The difference is that with Black Widow, you've lived with her through a few other films. So you've built up a history with her. Cassian Andor was in one movie. And while he is roguish and kind of charming and definitely straddles the side, you don't know, he's definitely a character of gray in the film. He's in one movie and he bites the dust rather finally at the end of the film. Like, he is not meant to come back. Like, for him to have survived that would take leaps that I don't even think Marvel and DC had figured out yet. But so why am I supposed to care about all the spy stuff that he did that made him such a person that we would bring on for the ultimate Suicide Squad hit?
I mean, what's not about
why should I care about the Bad Batch? Why should I care about
Well, the Bad Batch,
we know where that goes.
We don't.
I mean, that is kind of what I was saying about it. It's a shame that there are like prequels. I tend to find are just less interesting usually. not that they can't be interesting stories, but I'm like,
For me, it's not about him at all. It's about the rebellion as a whole, and it's about seeing the rebellion in less of a cookie cutter, like, oh, so positive light. That's
to create another character. Why do you need him then? Why do you need him as the
He's
hook?
going to be one character in, I'm sure, a whole cast of characters.
The show is named after him. He's going to.
Yeah, but
it's not Andor Ben. It's Andor.
Maybe it's him and or other characters.
Hang on, but also to say the same thing about the Mandalorian. Like Mando is the least enjoyable part, or the least engaging part of the entire or person in the whole show. Like it's about his kind of like all of his touch bases, not his actual. Like it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like it. I have faith that it'll be fine because the actor's spectacular. The idea of exploring this genre inside the Star Wars universe that's gritty is kind of cool. And all the talent behind the screen is top.
I disagree. I think that the show probably has the opportunity to be cool. It's just that I'm not going to care because I know this dude is going to die. Especially if you're telling me it's a spy thriller. So when he is standing there with guns a-blazing at him, I'm not going to care because he's not going to die. I'm just looking for everyone else. All right, who's going to die this time?
Do you really think a lot of characters are going to die in Star Wars in general?
Well, of course they're not.
Whose name is on the show?
There is a difference. Though.
Exactly.
Never really expect people
There's
to die.
a difference between I know because of my experience with narratives that he's not going to die, and I know for sure canonically he's not going to die. It just feels a little different. Although, yeah, none of these characters. Ahsoka's not going to die either.
Right.
Right.
True, but you don't know how she might be changed by what happens there.
True, that's true too. Yeah.
This dude, you've already been there. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
Wait, I got it. I got it. I'm going to convince Len. So Len, you know Arrow, right? Remember how in the beginning of Arrow, when he was on the island, he didn't know anything. And then by the end, he was all scary and stuff. And then we got to watch over 8 seasons as he grew to be that person.
You can't even run with this.
5. Because that's when the island stopped.
Yeah, over 5 seasons, he grew to be that person. That's what this is going to be. This is going to be a show of just the flashbacks from Arrow.
Yeah, but it's just the flashbacks, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll cut it with the movie.
I think this will be fun.
I do too.
We'll talk about it. This is going to be fun.
You know what it feels to me, and I'm sure I'm way off on this, but you know how we oftentimes get big project dumps like this, and then a couple kind of just fall off the plate. This feels like it might fall off the plate.
It's like Mo just said. This one's already started filming and everything.
This one's filming now. This one's real.
Fall off our plate, right?
Yeah. If anything, this is the most ironclad of this whole thing that's going to happen. This was announced years ago.
Action figure expert has a point. It's a line I always use. Let's wait to judge it until we see it.
I'm excited for it. I
am in all seriousness excited for it. Not necessarily for him, but for what it'll do for the universe as a whole.
All right, next story.
So these are like a few. There wasn't much on them. There's a droid story, which this is the one that interests me the least. It will feature the droid duo of C-3PO and R2-D2, as well as a mysterious new hero. It will be produced by Lucasfilm Animation and Industrial Light and Magic.
All right, next.
Yeah.
This is cool.
The next one does, this one seems interesting. It's going to be called Star Wars Visions, and it's going to be an anthology series in an anime style, basically. It says, the anthology collection will bring 10 fantastic visions from several of the leading Japanese anime studios, offering a fresh and diverse cultural perspective to Star Wars.
Do these things ever work?
Yes.
Sometimes. Batman, the thing that came out right before that.
That was awful.
I disagree with all of you guys.
The Animatrix was the last thing that was kind of cool.
Animatrix was great. Yeah.
Animatrix wasn't bad.
Oh, I was thinking there's these Star Wars like little anime like vignettes that they have on YouTube, and they're in an anime style, and those are super good. And they tell like the story of like Anakin or something. They'll tell like a story in like a summary basically, and they're super cool. And I think that honestly is part of why this is happening, because a lot of people love them and have been saying like do a full series of this.
All right,
I
well,
like
that's cool.
the title card too. I think it's an interesting choice. It's like paint kind of word divisions. Looks cool.
This could be cool. The only thing it's a series of shorts, so
Right.
I mean, it depends on what I'm wondering what the release schedule of them are going to be. Same with the Groot ones later. Like it'll be interesting if they drop them all, or if they'll be like shorts in front of other things. We'll see.
Yeah.
But,
and I don't expect them to necessarily change the universe in any interesting way, but I assume they'll still be good stories.
There were only, I'm skipping ahead. There were only 2 movies mentioned, only 1 announced.
Yeah.
So it was confirmed, because this was a rumor a while ago, that Taika Waititi was developing a Star Wars movie.
Yes.
They confirmed that he is. That's it. No
Ooh,
title.
and they showed the title card too, or they showed the art.
No title. No topic.
Nothing.
Nothing.
They showed a thing that is for his movie. That's like a very 70s French comic style, like Star Wars with like made out of stone. It's cool. It's really cool.
I'm not familiar with it. I'm sorry. The only other one was Patty. The next film in theaters for Star Wars in 2023 is Patty Jenkins doing Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
So I guess that's Rebel era.
I assume so, yeah.
Is it
She was
Rogue
wearing
Squadron?
like the Rebel. There was a little video of her, and she like had a Rebel outfit on and like a little mask and stuff.
Also, too, the idea of the video was very effective. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. She has a little introduction video talking about how her father is a military fighter pilot, and she's always been looking for a story to imbue things that she loves in pop culture with something that's very close to her, which is a movie about her father's experience. And then it reveals that it's Rogue Squadron. I was just like, yeah. And I believe it's going to be the first Star Wars feature film directed by a woman.
It absolutely is.
Yeah,
Yes.
because there have been women Star Wars directors, but it's all been television.
Right. Right.
Yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard did a very cool episode of Mandalorian. And
Um,
Patty Jenkins also directed at least one Arrested Development.
oh, yeah.
As well as two Wonder Woman films.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
Everybody knows that.
Never heard of those. But we do know Arrested Development directors go on to make good work. So
Yeah,
But,
I just saw Jay Chandrasekhar directed one, which I didn't realize.
Yeah.
And of course, the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
Well, I like Patty Jenkins, so
I think it's awesome.
I'm inclined to look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, I've never been super interested in like pilot stuff in general, especially in Star Wars. But like I said, I like Patty Jenkins, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
I would love to watch a X-wing kind of fighter pilot movie or story that doesn't have to do with Luke feeling out the target.
I hope that this gives us
Just
the
the
Wedge
others.
movie that we deserve.
All the others, yeah, like Wedge and Porkins.
Yes.
See that movie. But is that all the Star Wars stuff?
What if it follows Biggs? Sorry, I just
Big
thought of it.
Dark Lighter. Did he die?
I don't remember. I just know that he knew Luke. So what if it goes from like, and we get like a CGI Luke in the beginning.
Oh God!
And he says goodbye to his friend Luke, and he goes to join the rebellion.
So I think.
Have you guys seen Sebastian Stan dressed up at like modified it? He's does a pretty solid Luke.
This ticks me off so much in fandom, and we've touched on a little bit here in a negative way. There's more than just 5 fucking characters in the entire
No,
universe.
there aren't. You're right.
I'm tired of it.
I don't care about anyone else.
But enough with the Skywalkers, enough with the Solos, enough with just the universe has more than 10 humans with the same surname. Okay,
please let's get over to the other side of the investor call, which was Marvel and Disney.
But it wasn't just Marvel and Disney. There was a couple of little weird tidbits of Fox.
Oh yeah, we should have started with that, I think.
Well, no, it'll take 2 seconds. There's an Alien TV show that's being developed for FX.
By Noah Hawley, right?
By Noah Hawley, yeah, the creator of Legion and Fargo for television.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it was Pixar that's doing some interesting things that it's kind of like a weird idea to me of they're doing a true story of Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that's funny though. So it's the story of the real Buzz Lightyear that inspired the toys.
Right.
So like a Right Stuff / space opera in like taking seriously that gets turned into a cartoon, and it's voiced by Chris Evans. I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I think it sounds fun.
And like they showed one picture, and it looks like the jawline of Buzz, but it's kind of photorealistic, and it's funny.
It seems to me like this is going to be like the Buzz Lightyear Star Command TV show, which I loved as a kid, which was like it was about Buzz in Star Command, and he had his Star Command friends, and they went on.
Yeah, it was real.
Yeah, I mean, it was as real as a cartoon. Yeah, and it was so good. I loved it.
It was real in so much as it told the actual stories of Buzz Lightyear and Star Command.
The lasers actually work and stuff.
Yeah,
and he actually can fly.
They the only synopsis was that it was the real story of Buzz Lightyear as in his early test pilot days.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious. And if it works and it's like tonally fantastic, I mean, I'm all in for Sheriff Woody in the actual Old West.
Yeah.
Oh, and Sheriff Woody already got a whole
and shit.
He's got him and Jesse and
But just to play devil's advocate here,
you never do that.
Do you think that how do you feel about Pixar once again mining their Toy Story franchise?
I'm okay with it because they are doing it in a original way. They're twisting it. If it was we're developing Toy Story 5 and Woody's Adventures and like then I would probably be like boring. But
because this is a different character. I mean, it's made very plain in Toy Story 1 that they are not the people that the toy like Buzz. It's a major plot point that he thinks he's Buzz Lightyear and he's not. So this is somebody else. Yeah.
It's also like I love the fourth wall breaking of it all too. Like the idea of the fake story that we know is about these toys who think there's someone else. This is like Inception of storytelling, where it's actually the real story that inspired the fake story that inspired the toy. I'm like, okay, that's so weird.
So this is not the TV show that the toy is based on.
Nope.
This is the thing that TV show is based on.
That's what I'm wondering. Like,
that's intriguing.
I can't tell if that's what it is. Like, is it like what I was saying, like the Star Command show? Like, is this going to be like a movie version of that? Or is it going to be just like a guy who's just a pilot?
Guys, this could be everything. This could be anything ranging from Buzz Lightyear of Star Command with aliens and weird stuff all the way to Pixar doing a version of The Right Stuff.
It
could be anything in between, and I think that's cool as hell.
I think it's going to be Ad Astra, but with Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real meditative story about space and travel.
2001.
Yeah, it's gonna be Interstellar, but with actual emotion. Yeah. Anyway, so let's go to Marvel. I will be quick. So you guys have options.
Wait, what about Indiana Jones? You got that? I'm excited for that. Here's the thing: 1 and 3 were great, right? 2 and 4, not so much. 5 could be awesome.
Temple of Doom was spectacular.
See, I haven't seen it in a very long time. I just
Temple of Doom is good.
Okay.
Also,
I'll do it.
If you take like one sequence out of Crystal Skull, not that terrible.
It didn't grab me. I want to see him go out on a higher note. That's why I'm excited for this.
Every single one of those movies has to do with a specific type of storytelling that was popular in the era that they're in.
Yeah.
And this one, and part 4 was based in the 50s, and it attempted to do a science fiction story. Yeah. Because of the popular science fiction tropes.
Well, I just thought his character didn't work as well in that one. I don't know. It just, it's still an Indiana Jones movie. I just, wanted to go out on a higher note, so I'm down.
A higher note would be to let the song play out.
Yeah,
the fifth movie. I agree.
Like if this fifth movie was 10 years ago, maybe. But I mean,
whatever. Anyway,
well, let's see. Yeah.
Yes, let's see. So do you guys want chronologically movies and television shows that they announced, or separately?
Chronological.
Whichever you want to do.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. So
We'll do chronological because Brian wants chronological.
Yes.
So-
Let's give Brian some.
right off the top, the next things that are coming from Marvel because of coronavirus is their television shows, Disney Plus. So WandaVision officially announced for January 15th. The trailer came out. It looks weird. That's great. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah. I think it looks great. I love that I don't know what it's about, even though I think I do know what it's about.
Yeah, and they haven't they've said it, but they haven't really shown it, that it's not just the older style sitcoms that they're homaging. Like there's going to be like a single camera office style.
Oh, yeah.
I think that sounds like fun. Yeah. And Catherine Hahn is amazing. So
the new trailer, watch the new trailer.
Okay.
They touched into it a lot.
Okay, cool.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which also launched a new trailer. That comes out March 19th, all on Disney Plus. The next thing after that is finally Black Widow on May 7th in theaters. They're not committing to any kind of premium service right now. But also in that same month, we get Loki, the Disney Plus series.
I'm
That new
so
trailer is
excited for
great.
Loki.
Yeah,
The trailer was fantastic. It's it takes place. It follows the Loki divergence from Endgame, where he gets the cosmic cube and runs off. So it's the Loki that's still alive that has not gone through any character development that happened throughout the Thor movies and the rest of the Avengers movies, which I think is cool.
And Owen Wilson is in it.
Owen Wilson is in it.
Yeah.
He's old.
It deals with the time variance authority. Time variance authority. TVA. So it's going to be weird, time travel, alternate dimensions, cool actiony show.
There looked like there was a shot of Black Widow. That was cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to be fun. Loki looks like it's going to be a hell of a good time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And they do have little, like, now that you mention it, there was like a shot of the Avengers all together. It's nice that they can do that kind of stuff, and it doesn't feel like shoehorned in. It makes sense.
They're selling it as a mystery. It's a mystery show. So I think they're going to rely heavily on the idea of a couple years ago there was a series, Loki, Agent of Asgard. I think they're going to backdoor kind of the idea of him being an agent of this time variance for some other reason or other to go to these different dimensions to do shit.
He's in that one of those outfits too. In one of the scenes, he's wearing like something that's very similar to the Agent of Asgard, like green suit with the shorter helmets or the shorter.
Yeah, I think they're going to play with every single variation of Loki, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
There's the vote for Loki thing that I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
That develop.
Well, before we move on too fast, what are your thoughts about Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Oh, that's actually what I was just.
I'm hella hyped.
Yeah, it looks cool. This whole like total blend of movie and TV works. I think that's one of the most obvious places because they have been major characters in film. Like they weren't the star of any of those things, but they were everything but, the movies that they were in. And also, this is a real little thing I just noticed last night. It is called The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, not Falcon and Winter Soldier. And for some reason, that just gives me like a cool 70s spy action movie feel to that title, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like it's got a nice ring to it.
That's intentional.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
I wish it was. I mean, it's. I get why it's not, but I wish it was Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Like,
well, maybe by the end it will be.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe the title might change.
Yeah.
This was my favorite era of comics, Captain America comics. When they took Captain America off the board, it's happened twice in current times when they killed him, and there was that fight for the shield kind of thing. But it was a focus on the side characters or the rest of the cast, and then in Rick Remender's run where they aged him, and that's when Sam Wilson got the shield. I like that they're melding these two like great eras of comics into one show because I don't know. To me, it's almost like an easier and better way of showing how important a character is by taking them out of the equation, seeing how everyone tries to fill the void, which I think is awesome, and that's what this show seems to be. Like, I know that they're going to deal with U.S. Agent. So you'll have the government's response to how they're supposed to fill the void, but then you'll have the actual real response of Falcon and Winter Soldiers to how they plan to try and fill the void. I think that's great.
The guy playing U.S. Agent is cool too. He was on a show called Lodge 49. He's two famous actors' kids.
It's Kurt Russell's son.
Yeah, that's right. I really liked him in that show, and it's a real shame that show did not get picked up for a third season.
You were the third person that was watching it. Just 3 people.
No, I know another guy. That's 4.
No, that was number 2.
Oh, he was already counted.
He was number 2. He was already counted. Yeah.
Guys, do you think at some point, either in the first or second season, we'll see the Shield change hands again?
I think they're going to hold it off to like the end of the end of the first season.
You think we'll see old Captain America at any point?
That's what I was thinking too.
I do actually. So I do think that we're going to get CG faced Chris Evans. I do think that the whole first season arc is going to be about battling U.S. Agent, whether it's because he's mind controlled or crazy drug addled. I don't know, but it'll be. I think it'll also kind of maybe touch a little bit on the feelings of what was it, Secret Empire, where the world thinks that he's great, but it's really bad kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
I think they're going to villainize U.S. Agent. So changing hands, probably, but probably not to the very end, as in like the coda.
Is there even supposed to be a second season of this? My understanding was just in WandaVision or like, they are talking about it?
Yeah, so they're talking about second seasons for Loki and Falcon.
Oh, okay.
But, cool. I mean, that's just like deals in place potentially, not necessarily green lights.
Just locking them up just in case.
Right. Yeah. Well, for whatever reason, I just didn't think that there even would be. I thought this was going to be kind of like an interstitial kind of way that America,
The way that they're filming these is very movie-like, not necessarily how historically television shows are filmed, which usually is like week at a time over the course of like 6 months or 8 months. These are being done, all the scripting, all the pre-production, all done in one fell swoop, and then all filming done in one fell swoop. So it's more amenable to like giant actors' schedules.
Yeah.
So I really do. I could totally see them like funding a second season, and like 2 years later you get it, because these whole seasons they cost about $150 to $200 million a pop, which is an event movie.
Yeah, true.
And there's a live on their streaming service where people can rerun them. And just live there.
And it builds the universe, which is something that has never really featured into the economic models before, but definitely does now.
Yeah,
because there's so many different platforms now.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it going because we're already.
Activator Expert actually brought up something that we were talking about, I think, behind the scenes that I think is interesting is what if they introduce Patriot in this show and maybe also Isaiah Bradley? That could be really interesting.
Yeah.
So they probably are, and we'll get to it.
Yeah.
So What If is happening. That's MCU friendly What If.
It's the animated show.
And Jeffrey Wright is the Watcher, which I'm excited about, and also What If is awesome, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think it's only going to be like 10 or so episodes. But either way, they're all explicitly about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the characters in them. So a lot of the voice actors are coming back for it.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi is hitting theaters July 9th, 2021. This is technically going to be the first Phase 4 movie.
Oh, I guess so.
Right.
Because Black Widow's a prequel.
Black Widow's a prequel.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Eternals is November 4th, 2021.
Nice.
At the
I'm
end,
very excited about that too.
Oh,
how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah.
I was really hoping that they would show a trailer for it because I'm dying to see footage as to what this movie is going to look like.
Oh, yeah.
This is like an X Factor. It's a type of Marvel movie we've not seen before.
It's like Guardians of the Galaxy was when it came out.
Like Thor was. Like that first trailer of Thor. What is this going to look like?
Yeah.
They got to save something for the Super Bowl.
True. That's a really good point.
An excellent point, then. Yeah.
All right. And so at the end of both filming now, but not to be released until the end of 2021, we've got Hawkeye featuring Kate Bishop and Jim Renner's Hawkeye, as well as
now Hawkeye's going to be a series. That's going to be a series.
Disney Plus. And Ms. Marvel. The Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel.
Oh, there's also Ant-Man.
That's later.
We're going.
We're only doing the.
You asked for chronological.
You asked
they,
chronological. I'm getting to it.
I
revealed
thought it was
on
going to
Hawkeye.
be in story chronological, to be honest.
No.
I see.
Even though we already know it, they revealed for Hawkeye that Haley Steinfeld is coming in as Kate Bishop, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah,
Love of my life.
they
I'm super
officially
happy.
announced that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd seen set photos already though, so it was kind of
Yeah. So
Is
so
Kate
that's
Bishop the love of your life or Haley Stanfield?
sure.
yes.
Wait, are
Honestly-
actors not the people that they play on screen?
Sure. All right, so that's 2021. That's all solidified. Exact dates are a little mushy with the end of the year for television shows, but 2021 is capped. That's all of it. Then we get into the movies of 2022 that are scheduled, but the television shows of 2022 aren't.
That's
So
right.
we'll do the movies that we know have dates, and then I'll do all the unannounced.
Okay.
So 2022, the very first thing that kicks off movie-wise is Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. That's March 25th, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
And that one's been confirmed to tie into WandaVision and Spider-Man.
And Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I didn't hear about the second.
I didn't know about Loki.
yeah. So
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I mean,
For sure.
they all kind of like you've got manipulation of timelines and matter with WandaVision. You've got time variance authority with Loki, and then Spider-Man 3 is apparently shaping up to be a Spider-Verse-y type of thing that we don't know. Actually, that's supposed to come out next December, but that wasn't a part of this call because that's technically Sony right now.
That's right.
So there you go. At the end of 2021, December, I think 8th or 9th is Spider-Man 3, which has no official title yet.
Do you think that is going to be at the end of December 2021? Is that or did we just
now. Yeah.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're filming.
So Doctor Strange, all that casting is out already. May 6th, 2022, Love and Thunder, Thor 4. Christian Bale was announced as Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah.
So this movie is going to, traverse a couple different eras of Jason Aaron's run, or just Thor in general. So it'll have the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster Thor, as well as Thor, and then Gore the God Butcher, which is the whole super arc of all Jason Aaron's run. It should be interesting.
I am down for Christian Bale.
I just need it. I need it to be serious. Like I can't do Gore as a comedy. I can't.
That's why I was surprised Gore was in it, because Taika Waititi is directing.
I don't think Gore will be a joke.
Right.
Other things happening around it will have humor in it.
I guess.
Well, here's the thing. Taika Waititi has proven, especially with The Mandalorian, that yes, he's a guy that he can get a joke, but he can definitely do some great action, and he can do some very serious, storytelling. Anyone who's watched Jojo Rabbit can say that he can definitely walk the line between the surreal and the real and realistic and heartbreaking and very dramatic. So while I'm not a fan of Ragnarok because I thought it was just too jokey, it was Thor the sitcom.
That's what I felt.
I do trust that he can rein it in with this next film. The title, Love and Thunder, definitely evokes the same kind of mood as Ragnarok, but Ragnarok, that title didn't evoke the mood of the movie. So perhaps he will, give us the similar twist with this.
Ragnarok had some pretty heartfelt, serious moments too. It was not just a comedy, although
I would
it was
say overall
very
it was a comedy though.
His early descriptions of it was Love and Thunder. Early descriptions of it is that he wanted to lean into the romantic aspects of it, like do a romance in the Marvel universe between, you've got two spurned lovers meeting up again under different circumstances, to have that be a central conflict. But that won't be that's only going to be the character conflict. Everything else is going to be, this butcher of gods taking out all of these entities kind of thing. Like, I think he'll balance it fine.
What if, with how Marvel's been, with what this slate seems to be, what if Jane Foster is an alternate Jane Foster, and it's two alternate Thors coming together against Gore.
Well, some rumors are that the Loki series will help kind of set the groundwork of getting Mjolnir back.
Mm.
So we'll see. I don't know.
Because I just wonder like how you're going to introduce a new Thor and then also have a separate conflict. You know, like, yeah.
No, I don't think. I think those could dovetail pretty. You know, even introducing a new Thor is not a physical conflict. You know,
True.
So that could happen, but then they have to deal with this.
I just assume they're still going to
Yeah.
want like Chris Hemsworth Thor to be the main one. So like, how do you introduce a new one while keeping this one the main one while also introducing Gore? I don't know. It could definitely
Hard
happen.
to say. And maybe Beta Ray Bill will be in it. That would be awesome.
That would be cool, but that might be too much.
Later into that summer of 2022, we've got Black Panther 2. They are officially not recasting Chadwick Boseman at all.
Yeah.
In honor of the character as well as the actor.
Mhm.
And have said that they are exploring the characters and world of Wakanda, which is fine.
Which sounds to me, which reads to me like they're going to pull from the comic book and make one of the women Black Panther, possibly Shuri, could be Lupita Nyong'o's character.
That would probably make more sense in the context of it. You know, like you lose your science-y person on the other end of the earpiece.
I was going to say,
Right.
I don't think Shuri in how they depicted her in the movie is right yet.
Yeah.
Also, I saw, and this is, I think, more just wild fan stuff, but I saw someone say, what if they bring in an alternate Black Panther? And what if maybe that alternate Black Panther is Michael B. Jordan? That could be interesting.
Like an alternate T'Challa from another verse.
As a way to get around it.
They could do that to me, but I think people would feel like that reads as a cheat.
Yeah. I'd rather see, if they were going to have T'Challa in it, I'd rather see them just recast it. No in-universe explanation. It's just if they were going to
go that route. Right?
Yeah.
I like the idea of it being one of the women because I think that fits story-wise with what they set up with in that universe. It also, in a way, can pull from the comics, so you can kind of, which is what they kind of do. They had, take from the comics and then they twist it as they will. I appreciate that. I had a conversation with Super Triple Randy about this on Black Tribbles, and he was saying, and this was before they announced that they categorically weren't going to recast it, and he was feeling like there needed to be a T'Challa out there because he was quote unquote our guy, and and that's fine for him to feel that way. I don't feel like there necessarily has to be a T'Challa out there. And if they are true in the reasons why they don't want to recast it, then it makes even more sense to me.
It makes them portrayal mythic and a symbol more than just an actual thing, which I think almost bolsters Randy's argument.
Yeah.
Like it supports it that it's more important than a person, and it's more important, and this thing needs to be out there. If you canonize it in almost like a deity kind of way, then it's even stronger than just a new adventure, right? In theory.
Right. Well, yeah, but I think you can still have the character Black Panther be there, and it doesn't have to be a guy.
Oh no, I'm talking about T'Challa. I'm specifically just
right.
talking about T'Challa, not Black Panther. I think personally, I think that the conceit of the movie, and I don't know if you guys said this because I turned my headset out, is going to be almost the battle for the title in a weird way. So like I can totally see them using M'Baku in a way because he kind of has a turn as a character. I could totally see them trying with Okoye. I could totally see them trying with, like the Black Panther doesn't necessarily have to be the royal.
Does it not?
I mean, maybe it did historically. Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, maybe they want to change it.
They also need to figure out how to get another heart-shaped herb.
If that even is a thing. Maybe it won't be a thing. Just like how Super Soldier Serum is not going to be. all of the things we're talking about is enough conflict to fill a movie.
Amen.
So I have full confidence in Ryan Coogler and his team.
All there, right there for it.
Yeah. Speaking of sequels, November 11th, 2022, Captain Marvel 2.
Oh, sweet. I hadn't heard of that. That was
Brie
announced.
Larson is returning. Nia DaCosta is directing, which I think is really, really cool.
Who is that?
Obviously, she is a woman of color, and her movie got sidetracked by the coronavirus. She directed the
Candyman remake.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything I've seen of that movie looks slick as shit, and I was really excited to watch it, but coronavirus.
Yeah, she's a pretty good director.
But it was enough to get her a very high profile job with Disney. I think that's awesome. You know, it's the kind of behind the scenes kind of hiring that was exciting, like with James Gunn. Like, this is a dude that makes goopy horror movies, and you're putting him in charge of a space opera. Like, what do you know that we don't? Like, that's the kind of cast. Like, that's the kind of hiring that I think this is cool.
If you want to check out something that she did a film. We actually reviewed it on the Michaud Mission from 2019. It's a small little film called Little Woods. It's a nice little crime drama that stars Tessa Thompson and Lily James. It's kind of like almost like a real like small like noir film, but it's real tight. It's really, really atmospheric, and it's really good, spot on. So look for that. Little Woods.
Little Woods. And the last thing that we know of.
Oh wait. Oh, sorry.
So Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, are going to be a part of Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Characters
That's so
introduced in
exciting.
TV shows. Yeah.
Miss Marvel.
Who's in WandaVision? I mean, Monica Rambeau is. Although
But Miss
technically
Marvel
introduced
coming
in Captain
very
Marvel,
cool.
the movie.
I'm excited that they're doing that.
Yeah, they're bridging things better.
Yeah.
So the only other thing that we know that has a date in 2022 is the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. It will be live action, and they're filming it at the same time that they're in production for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is coming out at an unspecified date in 2023.
Listen, if it's as good as the High School Musical, the series holiday special, I'm in.
I'm sure it will be.
So that's in my world, that's a low bar.
I haven't actually seen it. I just found out it happened yesterday. I'm gonna watch it.
I just think that James Gunn was all over social media talking about how he thought that like it was mentioned as a joke years ago because he unironically likes the Star Wars holiday special. Like, you took the live action characters and you did something weird with it, and it was kind of cool and holiday themed. Doing that with Guardians of the Galaxy, and the way that production lined up, he was like, we could film something really quick and I'll write it and direct it. And Disney Plus was like, yeah, sure. So that's happening, which I think is weird as hell, but kind of funny.
Yeah. If it was anybody but Guardians of the Galaxy, I'd be like, but this sounds like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. I think it if anything, it's the first time that we've had any official word when Volume 3 is going to be in production.
Right.
Like, that was maybe like the biggest takeaway of it. But
then also, if it was Taika Waititi filming it at the same time as Thor: Love and Thunder, I could also see that being good.
True.
Action Figure Expert is saying it's going to be like the Star Wars holiday special.
No, it's not.
Maybe by design, but with a little less B. Arthur.
I want to watch Yondu watching that movie that Uncle Chewie was watching.
He's dead. Yondu's dead.
Listen, it's a holiday special. Nothing's real.
All right, so let's quickly go through the stuff that's unscheduled but was announced, movies and television shows. So on the TV landscape, and I have a feeling a lot of these are going to come out in 2022, and between those movies, they have no dates. So we've got She-Hulk, which was previously announced, only now we've got confirmation that Tatiana Maslany is in the show. And it was announced that Tim Roth is returning as the Abomination. And Mark Ruffalo is going to be showing up. They made very specific reference to this, focusing a lot on her specialty being superhero law. And that from episode to episode, we don't know who's going to be showing up. So I thought that was a really cute kind of, and it is going to be a comedy.
I was about to say that because I'm a huge Tatiana Maslany fan.
Yeah.
But I would love to see her do something comedic because she's definitely done action. She's definitely done drama.
She's in an episode of Parks and Rec, two actually, and she's good. Yeah.
Okay, because I've only seen her, primarily in Orphan Black and in a couple other things, and then she was in on HBO. She's in the Perry Mason show, which is definitely more dramatic. So I like seeing her. I want to see her be more comedic. So I'm all for this. I'm with it.
Yeah.
I hope they also bring back Tim Blake Nelson as the leader. Remember that there's that last.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I love Tim Roth. I'm actually watching a show right now that's kind of weird called Tin Star on Amazon, starring current Tim Roth. I'm glad he's getting work. He's always one of my favorite actors, but the show's kind of strange. I don't know if I like it. Anyway, go on.
The next thing is Moon Knight. No cast announced, no date announced. Just they're doing it.
I'm into that.
Rumors are that it's Oscar Isaac. That'd be cool.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's cool.
Moon Knight's actually really cool. I've read a couple of series and they're fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Secret Invasion was announced.
This one I'm very excited for.
Which will be a Disney Plus series. So, these are all Disney Plus series. Which will be a Disney Plus event series and will feature Nick Fury, Samuel Jackson, and Ben Mendelsohn, who's returning as the Talos the Skrull.
Yeah,
this is interesting because we'll keep going.
What do you mean the difference? You said that you made a distinction between the event series and a series.
This is not planned to be like some big ongoing like this.
This is not
season 2.
This is a mini series. This is an event series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's interesting to me that they're doing of the events to do a show of. This wouldn't be the one I picked since the whole event was like 2 days. Like this is like if you were to tell me between Civil War and Secret Invasion you were going to make a movie of one and a show of the other, I would much rather have seen a show of Civil War and give just Secret Invasion a movie because it's mostly like a single event that happens like at one time as opposed to something that happens over the course of time in the comics at least. But Secret Invasion is cool and there is obviously a lot of build up that can be done. So I'm definitely excited. Yeah,
I think television leans itself really well to the idea of a bunch of sleeper cells being awoken at once across the world, and you've got, and I do think this is the beginning of Sword. So this is the promise delivered of that was laid out by the end credit sequence of Spider-Man: Homecoming. Far From
Which
Home.
I just saw.
Far From Home.
It was awesome.
Yeah, this is that. This is the continuation of that. So I don't know. In the comic it was just like 2 days. I don't think that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously the movie never sticks.
Also, 24 took place over 1 day.
Yeah, I was gonna say the whole series could be 1 day. We don't know.
And remember, they are very good about taking the title just for branding sake and then tweaking it.
Yeah, Age of Ultron was a time travel story.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. The other event.
You're muted there, dude.
I was gonna say Civil War was a cosplayers in a parking lot story.
Go mute, JD.
The other event series, not television series, but event series that they mentioned was Armor Wars, featuring Don Cheadle as War Machine. JD thinks this is stupid.
Really?
And he'll tell you why.
No. JD does not think it's stupid. JD saw the elevator pitch and thinks it's stupid. It's played out. The elevator pitch is what happens when Tony Stark's tech gets into the wrong hands. To which I respond, Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Spider-Man Far From Home. Half of the stories of the Marvel Universe in the movies are because Tony's tech got into the wrong hands. That's all.
Yeah.
He's got a point.
Yeah. But they don't usually dress in those outfits. That what I mean. They're not flying around in other
armor.
Also, too, there's no Tony Stark to fix it.
Yeah,
I think that's
true.
the conflict.
But here's the thing: it's a story about Rhodey, and the elevator pitch is about Tony.
I mean,
what I want to hear what Rhodey has to do with this. There's nothing about Rhodey in the Rhodey show.
It's got a point.
So when we hear more, I may get more excited. But I just laughed at that line. I was like, all right, guys.
Armor Wars, and then Ironheart, which were
That's what I'm now. Ironheart, I'm with.
They are going to be interlinked shows.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she the wrong hands?
Yeah.
Maybe her hands are the wrong hands.
I mean,
That would be a twist.
kind of, yeah, that works.
And they announced that Dominique Thorne is going to be playing Riri Williams. She, if Beale Street could talk, she's a young actress. She's only been in a handful of things, but big things.
I wonder how they'll do her AI, right? Because in the comics, it was Tony Stark.
It wasn't at first.
Wasn't it? Okay.
No.
I have not read any of her series. So I'm just
She actually didn't have an AI for like the first 12 issues at all. And kind of kept mentioning that she needs a better interface because she can't multitask that well in the suit. And it wasn't until Tony Stark passed that he gifted her an AI because he was impressed with her.
I mean, you could
about her
in the show,
she
you
did
just
it
do whatever.
on her own. So yeah. I was saying the cool thing about her, she did it on her own. Like she didn't, like obviously Tony eventually gave her like an upgraded like set and everything, but originally she just made her own armor and just decided to go do the thing.
Yeah, part of her thing too is that she's a brilliant engineer with a photographic memory, so she scrapped it together based off of things that she knew out there in the ether about his tech, and then kind of reverse engineered it.
It makes absolutely no sense, but for some reason, when I saw this and I was excited about it, I immediately went to the variant cover of Ironheart, where she meets Ariel Johnson of Amalgam Comics, and was like, "Oh, are they going to film this in Philly? This would be great." That's all I saw was them acting out that variant cover. Like, if they made that happen, I would be like, "Yo, that
would be cool."
She's the character's from Chicago.
Okay.
So deal with it.
Doesn't need to be though.
Doesn't need to be.
Maybe not in the MCU. It's a different world, man.
Chicago.
And Ariel can catch a train real quick.
Right. Maybe in the MCU, Ariel's comic shop is in Chicago.
And the last thing for television shows on Disney Plus is a series of shorts. I know, I'm just doing this. Is a series of shorts about Baby Groot called I Am Groot.
What else could it be called, really?
He is Groot.
He is Groot. Groot.
Groot. But the very end of it is a couple of unscheduled or as yet unscheduled movie announcements that they made. So the first was, hey, Blade is going to be a movie. Mahershala Ali is going to be him, and that's it. Like but they also they intimated that they're very close to announcing some things. So I have a feeling this is going to be one of those unscheduled 2023 dates. And it's going to be a film, because I guess there was rumors that it might be a television show.
No,
but it's a film.
Two-time Academy Award winning Mahershala Ali ain't got no time for TV.
Who was in a full season of Luke Cage? Yeah. So it could go either way.
That was before the Oscars.
That's fair. They also announced Peyton Reed is returning to write and direct Ant-Man and the Wasp, which will be called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
Down in Quantumania.
Whole cast returning. They've recast Cassie Lang. So here's where all the bits of the young Avengers kinds of come in. We've got Cassie Lang. We've got Kate Bishop. There's hints of Isaiah Bradley being a part of the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. And the Jonathan Majors was cast as Kang the Conqueror in Quantumania.
I'm very excited about that.
Which is Iron Lad.
But maybe Iron Lad, but also with them doing an Iron Heart series, she could also kind of be shunted.
That's true. Yeah. So we've got all these. Also, to Kamala Khan. So we've got a version of the Young Avengers kind of collecting from all these other disparate like properties, and I mean, they'd be stupid not to eventually have some sort of their own thing. Even Peter Parker is a part of it if he wants to, because he's in that age range.
There there was the Ultimates, the Young Ultimates, I think, and Miles was the head of that. So you could have Peter be the head of this one.
Oh, what if they took all those characters and then they did them? They did them as kind of like, a Young Avengers thing, but they did the Young Avengers in the style of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yo, I would be right there.
All these different characters.
Yeah.
That could also be a reason for them to introduce Miles Morales into this.
Then they could do a crossover with Sony and make all the money.
And the very last thing that they announced is that they are in development of Fantastic Four film.
Yeah.
Directed by John Watts.
Yeah. The director of the Spider-Man movies, right?
Yeah. So now it looks like we've got a couple of directors that are like deep Disney directors now, right? So you've got Favreau, John Watts now, the Russo brothers ish. These directors that are like jumping from property to property inside of like Star Wars or Disney and stuff, which is kind of funny.
And I wonder if this means, because I mean, the MCU does tend to, well, not completely, but a lot of the time they pull from the Ultimate Universe, and in the Ultimate Universe, the Fantastic Four are like teenagers or maybe college age, I think.
No!
And when they're describing John Watts, the movie he's directed so far.
That's one character that he's done so far. Though.
If it's any indication of either the timeline of events and or how Kevin Feige described it, I don't think they're going to go that way, because they're doing Quantumania first, right? Which is going to be all kinds of Quantum Zone and
time to have Reed.
Stuff. Hold on, and then he explained them. He introduced them as Marvel's first family. So it's going to be a fully baked or like handful of people that are a part of a collective already. Not in grade school, I met this guy who wanted to be a pilot kind of a story. Like, I think they're going to come up with a way. Yeah. I think they're going to come up with a way for them to be kind of already intact and then retroactively introduce them.
Like maybe they were the Fantastic Four and something happened and they've been gone.
Yeah, wasn't there rumors about just like they were in the 60s and then they disappeared in the quantum realm or some stuff? Yeah. Like Reed Richards could exist in the Marvel universe, the cinematic universe. He's just not been around for a while.
Remember, maybe not famous. I mean, like they did it fine with Hank Pym. They insinuated him. Yeah. Right.
And his dad's in it now. So there we go.
His dad?
So apparently, at least what I read is that Kang may or may not have been Reed's father at some point,
or Doctor Doom's distant descendant.
Yeah.
Which I think they would probably go that route if he. Well, who knows? But I think he tends to be more somebody who is actually from the future, but he's still named Nathaniel Richards.
He could come back at any point.
Oh, so, for sure.
Yeah. So that's all of it. Before we go away, does everyone want to say what they're most excited about, real quick?
Over all of them?
One? No, I don't
pick a Star Wars one and pick a Marvel one.
Oh,
you want to start, Noel?
Sure.
I'll start because no. Let me start. Let me get pouty mouth out of the way. I can't. Star Wars. I'm probably most excited about Ahsoka. I'd have to learn more about Lando and a couple of the other things. So right now, Ahsoka is probably the one I'm most excited about. Even though that Rogue Squadron sounds kind of cool, I will cap for that. And as far as on the Marvel side, Loki, of the things that we've seen stuff of, Loki looks the most interesting to me. They all look kind of fun, but Loki looks like the most interesting to me of the things that we have seen. Even though I'm down for What If, but that all depends on like the animation and everything.
Oh, it looks cool. Have you seen the trailer?
I've seen the trailer, but you still, I'm there for it. But I think we're thinking more live action, and Loki looks like the most fun right now to me. And of the stuff that we haven't seen, all we've seen is title cards and all this other type of stuff. I'm probably most excited about probably Ironheart. Probably Ironheart.
I'm with you, Len. The Ahsoka is. I think Star Wars Ahsoka is the one that I am most excited about. That's way easier for me to narrow down. Like Marvel, I could give you I don't know, WandaVision, Loki, Fantastic Four. I'm excited for Kang. You know, like, I'm equally excited about a lot of shit in the Marvel stuff on the Marvel side.
Yeah, and I would be excited about Fantastic Four, but I think they've got a good director on it. I just need to hear more.
Sure.
Like at least the casting before I like
Eternals.
I'm most for Star Wars. I'm most excited about Rogue Squadron. I think that's just an awesome opportunity for something like it's only ever been treated in other media, sure, in books and comics, sure, but like in film and television, it's only ever been treated as like these side characters. But they're so vital and they're so important to every single conflict that's happened in all of Star Wars, or like larger conflicts. And I think that's just really cool. And then knowing where Patty Jenkins is coming from, I'm very excited about it. Yes.
Which characters are the Rogue Squadron?
We don't know. I think that's great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're just fighter pilots.
No, I felt like this was like a big part of Star Wars lore that I just didn't know. Like I wasn't aware of who the characters were or something.
The name of a squadron, like just a group of
Black
pilots.
Squadron,
Yeah, they come in and out.
With Luke, you know, in the Death Star.
Thank you. Oh, so they're part of the Death Star thing. Oh, great.
Wait, hang on, like a faction or a name of or like a squadron of troopers that have their own designation. It's not just for one time. It's usually a historic.
Right. I was just explaining to JD that's like one time.
I know, but I don't want JD to think that like, oh, it's only about the Death Star run. Like, no, it's a historic thing that a lot of like soldiers have come in and out of the Rogue Squadron. So I think that's I love it when sci-fi kind of goes militaristic sometimes and gets into the foot soldiers of it all and what it's like in the trenches when you're actually fighting a war and like dog fighting. I think that's going to be great.
Watch Clone Wars.
No.
Watch Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. Did. No. Yeah, loved it. So that's for Star Wars. For me, for Marvel, I think I'm most excited for Shang-Chi.
I gotta see it.
That's why. I'm most excited for these unknown quantities. These like, you know, we've seen Marvel do this genre, that genre, that genre. We've never seen them do a martial arts film. We've never seen them do like when they're playing with these other genres and these other types of cultures and imbuing them with, you know, the fun of comics and crazy storytelling. I'm more excited for what, like, is it going to be like Enter the Fist? Is it going to have a giant dragon? I don't know, but I'm really like, I'm down to find out. And then maybe She-Hulk, because I've been reading She-Hulk, and that show could go in 10 different ways, and I'm kind of interested into what it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm going to change my vote. It's She-Hulk.
To She-Hulk. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that one. There's a lot of Marvel stuff.
Yeah, for me, Star Wars is Ahsoka. Of the announced Marvel stuff, it would definitely be Loki. And probably She-Hulk as well. Maybe Ironheart? I don't know. Or Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion definitely interests me, depending on how they do it. In fact, I'll say Secret Invasion.
JD's is Armor Wars and Andor, right?
I mean, Lens is actually Andor, of course.
Oh yeah, I know you guys were going to vote Andor across the board, so we're taking it off. We're taking it off the stage. You can't pick it.
Ahsoka and She-Hulk.
Yeah.
There you go.
Succinct.
Those are the ones that really, for some reason, well, I mean, I know why Ahsoka. I love Ahsoka, but like for some reason, She-Hulk really, I'm really interested in that and what they could do with it. You know, one of the cool things, I'm surprised they haven't done anything like this recently, is at one point you had She-Hulk and Howard the Duck about an office away from each other in a building, and then you also got, you know, the Murdoch.
Matt Murdock.
The Murdoch, what's it called?
Murdoch and Nelson.
Murdoch and Nelson. How come there's never been like a superhero court drama comedy where you have like, you could have the Howard the Duck, Jessica Jones, you know, doing private dick stuff, and then you've got Matt and She-Hulk.
I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone doing a court drama comedy. Let's see. Those seem very.
I mean,
Ally McBeal was.
Ally McBeal, Boston Public, pretty much anything.
Guys,
Richard or
I'm
what?
young.
David
I
Kelly.
don't know these things. You're old.
How does
Just take
oh
off the
man,
shades.
how does technology work? I can't figure it out because all this newfangled technology, and I'm so old.
The funny
I
thing
fixed
is,
it.
I've made a few friends lately, and they're all much younger than me, and they all make fun of me for being the old one. So it's nice being here, and you guys are the old
How
ones.
old are you, Brandon?
I'm 25, but they're all like 18, 19.
All right. Yeah.
I'm just surprised that Brandon's made new friends lately. I'm so happy.
The year of the pandemic is the one.
No, I'm happy. I said I'm happy. I'm happy because you know how often he's always like, "No, I don't feel like it. No, I'd rather eat churches."
It's a chicken.
No, it's checkers.
No.
It's checkers.
Not
We've been going
buildings.
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Wait,
We can't
checkers
go on
are
to
delicious.
tangents.
Robert Palecchio says that's 2 Ally McBeal references in one episode, and I'm here for it.
It is excellent. Robert Plecchio, longtime friend of me personally, and may have been watching the show for a little while.
No-time friend of me personally.
No.
Yeah, I don't know who you
not
are.
a fan.
Sir.
Want to be my friend?
Yeah, so I'm taking this quarantine pandemic situation and as an opportunity to make new friends. Robert.
In fact, everyone, whoever's in charge, cut off all the mics, all the cameras, so I can just talk to Robert personally. I can give
If
my
everyone in the chat can just disappear, Brendan and Robert want to talk.
Why are we doing this? We're going so long already.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We go live every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. You can join us here, comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Hang out with us. It's a blasty blast. You can come down to 4327 Main Street in Philadelphia, PA, and come to Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, which is my comic shop. You see a small portion of it behind me. And Noel, where can the people find you? Yes!
Yeah, you can find me anywhere on social media. During the week, we do some Thunder rounds. I'll just see you next week. Or on Twitter at Mr. Bartocci, MRBARTOCCI. Thanks.
Len.
Hey, holla at Tribble every place that you find the Black Tribbles, too cool to be geeks, too cute to be nerds. We are Black Tribbles. Holla, 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 holla.
Brian.
I'm at brianliebdesign.com, and sometimes I go out into the world and I drive around and on streets and whatever, and you might look and see me. Just keep an eye out.
I agree with Brian. That's where you can find me.
Yeah.
If you ever, I'll be there.
If you ever, I'll be there.
Yeah, I forgot Brandon was omnipresent. I forgot about that.
Are you threatening?
Maybe.
Brandon is the
Or I'm
chorus of every
complimenting you.
love
I don't
ballad
know.
ever. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, his tongue is green. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk at you later.